What's up? Ghost Fictions is here, and we're back again. This is the second part of a story where Izuku was trained with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But before we start, please consider subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Don't forget to check the description for more informations and support the amazing author Emmanuel Lucas 236 for writing this story. Now, let's get into part 2. We are on Dagaba Beach, and Toshinori Yagi was there admiring the view of the sea while waiting for his successor. He contacted the greenish one to talk about his power right there, until he heard footsteps behind him. He turned around and saw the boy, Izuku Midoriya. "Izuku, good evening, All Might." The boy's scream made the man bleed from his mouth. "Toshinori, keep it down, kid. The All Might. I can't believe it. Where is he?" Toshinori and Izuku saw a couple on the beach pier, clearly on a date while looking for hero number 1, when Izuku screamed. "Toshinori, say you were wrong." Toshinori whispered to Izuku, who realized his mistake. "Izuku? Oh, sure. I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Izuku shouted to the couple. "Oh man. I wanted an autograph." Obviously, the couple didn't like the mistake, Izuku said as they returned to their date. Toshinori and Izuku sighed in relief that the couple had fallen for it as they started talking. "Toshinori, congratulations on the approval," he said while raising his hand to a boy as a sign of "knock here." "Izuku? Thanks. I also appreciate your help. I wouldn't have made it without your help," he said as he patted the man's hand. "Toshinori, speaking of which, I want you to know something. I didn't tell anyone at UA about our connection. And another thing. I wasn't one of the judges, so those rescue points you got, it wasn't my cause. You got them yourself." Izuku was relieved and happy when All Might said this while bowing. "Izuku, thanks for telling me that. I'm really glad to hear that," said Izuku before remembering something important. I was surprised to find out that you are going to be a professor at UA. I was wondering what brought you here since your agency, Might Tower, is in Minato, Tokyo, and all world knows that." "Toshinori, I'll be straight. Your fanboy manner scares me." Izuku was stopped by Toshi, who stopped the boy from going into fanboy mode. "Toshinori. And about me being a teacher, the school didn't want me to tell anyone until they make an official announcement. They called me at UA while I was looking for a successor." Izuku started to remember the man's words the day they met. "Izuku? I see. At that time he planned to choose one of the school's students. Someone talented and with a quirk," he thought as he looked at his hands. "Toshinori. Now, I want to ask you a question." The man's comment caught Izuku's attention. How did it feel to have a quirk and to be able to use it for the first time? "Izuku. The feeling was amazing. I felt stronger and more confident that I could fight. But I also felt that I still need to improve more. After all, it's the first time I use a quirk. I even felt the side effect you mentioned. My right arm broke when I punched the pointer 0. "Toshinori. Yes, I noticed. That happened because you exceeded the limit of how much power you can handle. Even though you have a body that is more than enough to access the one for all, you still need to adapt so that in the end, you have full access to it. As you said yourself, this is your first time using a quirk. And look, for a boy who never had a quirk in his entire life and who faced robots much taller than you until you surprised me very positively," he said while laughing a little. Toshinori's praise made Izuku a little stiffened. For obvious reasons, Izuku didn't tell All Might that he was training with 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles who are hiding in the city sewers. "Izuku? Yeah, haha. Good thing I have a more than adequate body to have one for all, because God only knows what would have happened if I hadn't just broken my arm that time," he said while scratching his head and letting out a shy smile. "Toshinori. Let's not think about what could have happened. Let's think about what happened and what might happen in time," said while taking 2 spray cans. "You already have access to one for all, but for now, you have little control over it. But I believe that one day, you will have full control over it. The more you train with it, but you can move it with him freely," said when crushing the spray cans while transforming into All Might. "All Might? Like this?" Izuku looked at him in awe before turning serious. Look, it's All Might. Really, where did he come from?" That same couple from before showed up and saw All Might, who now realized his mistake. "All Might. Okay. Let's get out of here." All Might while running away from the animated couple. "Izuku? Why yes, sir," said running after All Might but not getting far behind. As the two of them ran, All Might looked over his shoulder at Izuku and thought. "All Might. The power I've passed on to you is small, but it's strong enough to access and use. But over time, the power will grow until you become someone quite powerful. The more powerful you become, the more you will shine. Eventually, I'll retire with my work done." Whoa, that was pretty deep. All Might thought as the two ran. After running away from the couple, Izuku says goodbye to All Might, saying that he will return home. When in fact, he's going to meet up with his homies. They arranged to meet at the hideout. And the reasons, they only said that they would help the boy with one thing, the rest, they didn't say. Izuku puts on the hood, goes to the middle of the street, uncaps the sewer cover and goes inside, making the people, who were on the sidewalk, find this strange. He runs to an area of the sewer where there was a secret gate that gave access to their hideout. He just had to pull one of the pipes that were on the walls, and presto, the door opened for him. Izuku. Hey, guys. I came as fast as I. Huh? Izuku takes off his hood and sees a scene that. You better see. Raphael. Next time Mikey, you're going to hand me the TV remote or I'm going to switch you instead of channels. You got it? Raphael had Mikey's head under his left arm, trapping the poor guy in it. Well, Mikey was trying to escape. Michelangelo? Okay. I'm sorry. It was just a plank, man. He said while whimpering a little. Raphael. I talking serious. Because my patience with your pranks has reached its limit. He said, still irritated and not letting go of Michelangelo, who was still trying to free himself from Raphael's arm. At first, Izuku worried about Mikey and Raph's bickering, but over time he got used to it. He even found that scene funny. Leonardo. Can you believe that? Leonardo and Donatello approached beside Izuku, who was still watching that scene. Years of ninja training, and it all ends up in a little fight over a television control. Izuku. Again. Donatello. 1 hour or another, Mikey will end up awakening all the rage of Raph on him. He said with his arms crossed before letting out a loud whistle, thus catching the attention of Raphael and Michelangelo. Sorry to interrupt this super interesting conversation between you both, but Izuku is here. Michelangelo. Oh hi, man. He waved at Izuku, even though he was still trapped in Raphael's arm. Raphael. We're going. And you. Be smart, Mikey. Because this conversation isn't over. Raphael lets go of Mikey, who sighs in relief, but the thick-shelled turtle looks at his brother with narrowed eyes and makes a hand sign that says, I've got my eye on you. Raphael. This isn't over. He said, whispering before walking back to the rest of the group. This made Michelangelo a little stiff. Izuku. I hope I didn't come at a wrong time, guys. He said while Raphael and Mikey reached the rest of the group, with Michelangelo rubbing his neck. Michelangelo. Actually, dude, you arrived at the best possible time. Really? He said while rubbing his neck, while Raphael keeps his eyes on him. Izuku. So. Why did you guys call me? Leonardo. We want to congratulate you personally for having managed to pass the exam. He said while smiling. Michelangelo. Yeah, man. I knew you could do it, more so because you acted like a real hero. He said while ruffling the greenish hair. Izuku. It was nothing, guys. I just did what anyone would do. He said while scratching the back of his head. Raphael. Can you stop talking nonsense, man? He said with a look of disapproval upon hearing that. Izuku. What? Raphael. Are you listening to what you're saying by any chance? Come on, we didn't train you just so you could devalue yourself. Leonardo. Look, I'm going to have to agree with Raphael. His comment made Michelangelo nod his head. Izuku. But. Donatello. You know what you have. Low self-esteem. You should value yourself more, you know. Michelangelo. Yeah. Think with us. If anyone would do what you did, then why wouldn't they? Mikey's question made Izuku reflect in his mind. He was right. When it came time to save Uraraka, he alone went there to help the girl, even though he would not receive anything for doing so. Leonardo. Mikey is right. You should see more value in yourself. You should look at yourself and say, I'm amazing. You should do that. Izuku. I should do this. Michelangelo. Exactly, man. You should tell yourself you're amazing. Raphael. You should say you're awesome. He said while flexing his arms. Donatello. And you should also say that you're cool. Donnie's comment had the three brothers looking at each other with a what the heck you say look. Michelangelo. Just cool, Donnie. Raphael. Are you serious? Leonardo. I expected something better than that. He said as he stood with his arms crossed. Donatello. Very cool. He said while letting out an awkward smile, but his brothers didn't accept this one, and Donnie noticed it. He kept thinking until he thought of one word. Excellent. Leo. Raph. Mikey. Yeah. Clearly, they accepted the compliment from Donatello, who sighed in relief. This whole scene the brothers were doing made Izuku laugh a little. Michelangelo. See? It's not that difficult. He said patting Donatello on the shoulder. Izuku. Thanks, guys. Guess I needed to hear it. He said while smiling. But tell me. Is there any other reason you all called me here? Leonardo. So, your classes start in April, right? So we've decided that you'll receive another new training to improve yourself and look a little more like a ninja and fight more like one. Michelangelo. In other words, you'll get an upgrade. Izuku. A new training. Really? Who will train me? He asked, curious and excited. Splinter. I will. Izuku turned around and saw Master Splinter walking towards them while drinking tea. Splinter. It's time for you to improve a lot more. He said while smiling before drinking his tea. Izuku swallowed hard before turning to the brothers, who were smiling at the boy. But he noticed they were forced smiles. And he could have sworn that in their eyes, they were saying, "Good luck, Izuku. You're going to need it." Izuku freaked out a little bit, but he's already endured a lot. If this Splinter training is going to help with anything, no matter how miserable it may be, Izuku will do it. Izuku. Please, Master Splinter, teach me as much as you can. He said as he bowed, making Splinter smile. Splinter. That's great to hear. I warn you it won't be easy training, but are you still willing to take it? Izuku nodded with a determined look. Excellent choice. He said as he turned around and walked towards the dojo room, but without the boy noticing. Splinter made his tail grab one of the boy's feet, who felt his foot being pulled, thus doing him fall on your butt to the floor. Izuku. Ouch. What the heck? He said while feeling pain as he remained seated and watched Splinter look at him with a smile. Splinter. We'll start your training tomorrow, young Izuku. I'll be waiting for you. It was the only thing he said before leaving and walking to the dojo room, while the boy started to worry. Leonardo. Look on the good part, Izuku. You will be trained by Master Splinter. He said as he crouched down next to Izuku. Izuku. And. What's the bad part? Michelangelo. You will be trained by Master Splinter. His comment made the brothers nod their heads with painful expressions, while Izuku swallowed hard. Time skip. Bringing you the Chibis Ninja Turtles jumping from one building to the next, with Izuku trying to keep up with them. At the Midoriya family home, we see that Izuku was putting on his shoes to go to UA, while Inko was standing behind him, watching her son about to leave. Inko. Have you got all your stuff yet? Izuku. Yes. Inko. Are you sure you didn't forget anything? Izuku. Yes, Mom. I'm sure I haven't forgotten anything. Well, I have to go. Izuku was about to leave to go to UA, but. Inko. Izuku. Izuku. Yes. He asked as he turned around. Inko. I just wanted to tell you that. You look great, son. I'm so proud of you. She said with a little tears coming out of his eyes. Inko's words made the boy smile before he hugged his mother quickly. Izuku. Thanks, Mom. See you later. Said before leaving. Inko. See you later, my little hero. She said with a smile on his face. UA school. April. First day. It's already the month of April, and today is the first day of school at UA. Since then, Izuku has been training his skills with the Splinter. By far, it was the most complicated training of all. Izuku had to learn to perform some of the moves Splinter taught him, while he and the brothers tried to give All Might's quirk a boost. Izuku doesn't have full control of it, but he does manage to access it. However, even though he doesn't have access, Izuku has learned some skills that will help him to fight. Izuku is not on the same level as the brothers, let alone Splinter, but he has learned enough to be considered a ninja. At least as a beginner ninja. Izuku was running in the halls of UA while looking for his classroom. He kept looking for his class 1A, until. Izuku. 1A. 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 Oh boy, this place is huge. Wait. Ah, there it is. Izuku faced the door of 1A, but he stopped because of a detail. Whoa, what a big door. It must be because of accessibility. Izuku stood in front of the door before sighing and gripping his backpack tightly. Izuku. Okay, Izuku. Relax now. You've come this far because you've earned it. Everything will turn out fine. Behind this door are the most promising students. I just hope I'm not in the same room with those two. Clearly referring to Bakugo and Iida. He even had images of the two in his head, but he quickly removed them. Izuku. God forbid. Wasting no more time, Izuku starts to open the door so he can enter his new classroom. Denya. Don't put your feet on the table. Bakugo. What? Denya. Don't you think what you're doing is impolite? This is the school's priority. Bakugo. Come here, Four Eyes. What does it matter? Izuku. Great. We're off to a bad start. Geez. Clearly, Izuku was disappointed to see those two in his class. Denya. My name is not Four Eyes. My name is Tenya Iida and I went to Same Academy. Bakugo. Same. Well. So that means we have an elite guy right here. It'll be fun to finish you off. He said while smiling mischievously. Denya. Finish me, do you really want to be a hero? The two only stopped the discussion when they saw Izuku. It's him. When Iida said that, everyone who was watching the discussion looked at where Iida was looking. Some recognized Izuku, most found him strange. Kirishima. Oh, he's here too. Cool. Hyoka. Wait, is he the guy who helped me in the entrance exam? It's good to see he's here. I better thank him later when I can. She thought when she saw Izuku there. Yuga. Oh, I remember you, Bonjour, Monami. He greeted with a small wave. Izuku noticed those looks and got a little nervous. He was still trying to deal with it. Izuku. Gee, good morning everyone. He said with a shy smile. Tenya. Good morning. I'm Izuku. Tenya Iida from Sumei Academy. I could hear it. I'm Izuku Midoriya. Tenya. Midoriya. First of all, I'd like to apologize for that day. You were right, I shouldn't make rash decisions like that about you. He said as he bowed. Izuku. Hey, everyone makes mistakes, Iida. We started off on the wrong foot, so let's forget about that and start over. Tenya. As I thought. You are, in fact, better than me. Izuku. What? Tenya. In the practical test, you discovered its true meaning, right? Izuku. What? Izuku was even more confused. Tenya. I had no idea. I misjudged you. When I saw that you were the only one who discovered the real purpose of the test, I understood that I judged you before I met you. I hate to admit it, but you are better than me. Izuku. What did they teach him in Sumei? He thought, finding Iida's behavior strange. Izuku. Sorry, but I didn't. Bakiru, it's you. I was looking for you. Izuku turned around when he heard that familiar voice, and the first thing that happened was he was hugged by the brown-haired girl he met on exam day. Izuku. Oh man. It's Uraraka. Is she hugging me? Oh my god, I'm being hugged. Calm down, Izuku, calm down. After finishing hugging him, the girl stands in front of him with a smile on her face. Ichako. You made it through like President Mick said. But of course you made it after that amazing punch. She said while trying to imitate Izuku's punch. The boy, on the other hand, didn't pay much attention to what she said, since, well, Izuku. Wow. She looks so cute in this uniform. Wait, what? No. Bad Izuku. Bad. Don't be thinking about these things. Izuku was having an internal struggle in his head. Ichako. I'm glad we're in the same class. I hope we can get along better from now on. Said with joy. Izuku. Why yes, I expect the same too. The poor boy, he blushed. While everyone was watching this with some strangeness, a certain explosive boy was not the least bit interested in what was happening with those two. However, he was extremely irritated by the fact that Izuku had also managed to get into UA. Flashback. Izuku and Bakugo were at the principal's office to inform them that they had managed to get into the UA Academy. Teacher. I can't believe we not only have one, but two students from our school are going to UA, and amazingly, Midoriya made it. It's a miracle. Izuku was happy, Bakugo was furious. It didn't take long for the rumor to spread, as all of his colleagues heard the news, but none of them decided to say anything about it, as they couldn't believe that Izuku Midoriya, the quirkless boy, managed to get into the best hero school in Japan. Is it true? Did he manage to pass the UA entrance exam? That's what I heard. Did he cheat? No, I was there at that day, and I saw with my own eyes Deku destroying the zero-pointer. Pausing to take a closer look, Deku is different than before. He got hotter. Is there still time for me to ask him to date? That day, Izuku noticed how all his classmates looked at him strangely, but he simply ignored them and withdrew to go to the hideout to continue his training with the splinter. But before he could go there, he felt someone grab him by the collar of his shirt and throw him hard against the wall. Whoever did this was Bakugo. Bakugo? What kind of trick did you use to get in, huh? My plan to be the only student from this damn school to get into UA was ruined. And it's all your fault. Izuku? Izuku didn't say anything. He just stared at Bakugo with a serious look. Bakugo? You were supposed to go to another school. I warned you what would happen if you dared to enter the UA. And now, you're going to pay dearly. Bakugo was about to punch Izuku hard, however, he didn't expect the greenish one to stop his hand blow and squeeze it tightly. Izuku? I want to make one thing very clear, Kaken. You are not my father, much less my superior and much less a god to rule over me. I've met amazing people who said I can become a hero. And now, I got my chance to get into UA, and I'm not going to miss this chance. I don't care what you say or think anymore. Like it or not, I'm going to UA. After saying that, Izuku pushed the Bakugo away from him and continued on his way. Bakugo got a furious face, while Izuku continued with his serious face before smiling a little. End of flashback. Bakugo? How does he have the courage to challenge me? What are you up to, Deku? He thought furiously. Ichako. I wonder what our entrance ceremony will be like. What will our teacher be like? Aren't you nervous? Izuku. A little bit. If you came here to make friends, then you came in the wrong place. Izuku. Achako. The two turned around and saw a man behind them lying on the floor, inside his sleeping bag. This is the course for heroes, not a nursery. Izuku. Achako. Tenya. Is it a lizard? The man starts to get up and gets out of his sleeping bag. He is a man of average height, has long hair that goes to his shoulders, and is messy, having a fringe that often covers his eyes. He has a weathered look, almost as if he's just woken up. He has a scruffy beard, and his eyes look tired. He wears a very simple black outfit, being a long-sleeved shirt and pants, these in conjunction with his boot. He also wears a utility belt and a scarf around his neck. He is Shota Izawa, also known as Eraserhead. Shota. It took you 8 seconds to be quiet. I hope this doesn't happen again, as this is a waste of time. Izuku. Is he a pro hero? How long has he not slept? Shota. I'm your teacher, Shota Izawa. It's my pleasure. Everyone. He's our teacher. Most students thought in shock at what they heard. Izuku. So he's our teacher? If so, is he a pro hero too? But I've never seen a hero who looked like a caterpillar. Shota. Anyway, I know it's sudden, but put this on and go to the courtyard. He said while pulling a UA sports uniform and showing it to the other students. Without another word, Izawa left and let the students hurry. Teacher's room. In the teacher's lounge, Toshinori was reading a notebook with the cover written. Staff list. Toshinori. The UA system does not follow the same path as other schools. Depending on the teacher, someone on the first day might be back with the UA gang. Everyone. Quirk assessment test. The Wanda class was in shock when they arrived outside the field where Izawa was waiting. Ichako. What about the entrance ceremony and orientation? Shota. If you want to be heroes, you can't waste time with useless ceremonies. The class was a little shocked by his words, and Izawa continued. Shota. Here at UA we're not bound by traditions. That's how the teachers run their classes. You've already taken these kinds of tests most of your life. But, you've never used your quirks in these physical tests. Said Izawa as he took his cell phone and showed a list of 8 things. Shota. The country still thinks that we are being created equal by not allowing people with quirks to participate. This is not rational at all. The Ministry of Education is outdated. Said before turning to Bakugo. Shota. Bakugo. From what I've seen, you got a lot of combat even though you were in second place. In school, what was your best softball throw result? Bakugo was furious as he knows who came first. Bakugo. 67 meters, I guess. Shota. Then try to do it using your quirk. Izawa threw a softball to Bakugo, who stood in a circle. Shota. So as long as you stay in the circle, anything goes. You can start. Bakugo. Alright. You asked for it. He said while stretching. Bakugo. I'll use a small explosion. Maybe that will show them who's boss around here. He thought with a smug smile. Bakugo. Die. Shouted the Bakugo while using his quirk to throw the ball away, while Izuku got a little nervous when he yelled. Izuku. Die. Shota. All of you need to know what your maximum ability is. When the ball hit the ground, Izawa's cell phone registered everything. Shota. It's the most rational way to think like a pro hero. Izawa shows Bakugo's score. 705.2 meters. Kaminari. 705.2 meters. Damn, that's a lot. Denki Kaminari is a boy who has blonde hair with black strokes in the form of rays and small thin eyebrows. Mina. This looks like it's going to be fun. Mina Ishido is a skinny girl, which is like this because of her quirk. She has somewhat square eyes with black sclera and yellower eyes, and remarkably long eyelashes below and around her eyes. Her face is framed by short fluffy unruly hair, slightly darker than her skin. She also has 2 thin pale yellow horns protruding from her head, curved into a hook shape and angled diagonally to opposite sides, which appear to be slightly flexible, being able to bend slightly to either side. Zero. I like it. We can use our quirks at will. Hanta Zero is a boy with elbows that are shaped like cylindrical tape dispensers, from which he shoots his tape because of his quirk. As the class said this would be fun, Izawa got quite annoyed, and Izuku sensed it. Shota. Does it look like it's going to be fun? All of you have 3 years to become heroes, and do you think it's going to be fun? He said before starting to smile. So, you will do 8 physical tests, but whoever is last will be expelled for not having potential. Izawa's words made the class go into shock. Izuku. Expulsion on the first day. 8 physical tests. Izuku knows he can access one for all, and knows he can fix it, but he was scared by this information. Shota. We are free to do what we want with the students. He said while lifting his hair and showing his scary look. Welcome to the UA Heroes course. Ichako. You can't send one of us home. We just arrived. Even if it wasn't the first day, it's not fair. Shota. And you think natural disasters are? All students were silent. Shota. Or power-hungry villains. Or catastrophic accidents that wipe out cities. Japan is full of injustices. A hero's job is to fight those injustices. The UA will play difficulty one after another. So go further. Show me what you can do. As Izawa spoke, Iida took his water bottle and thought. Denya. I don't approve of this prank, but UA is the best school for heroes. I do not have a choice. Iida thought after finishing her water bottle. Bakugo. I'm just warming up. Take a good look, Deku. He thought as he rolled his arm. Ichako was nervous, but found determination as Izuku tapped her shoulder with a look that said, we'll make it. Shota. We're wasting time just talking. Let's get this started. Test 1. 50-meter run. This test was very simple. 2 students would be 2 runners, while a robot recorded the time that such student reached the finish line. The test started with Iida and a girl who looked like a frog named Tsuyu Asui. Iida's time was 03.04 and Tsuyu's time was 05.58 seconds. Denya. For 50 meters, I can only go up to 3rd gear. Denya Iida. Quirk. Engine. As you can see, its legs are very fast. Shota. He's in his element. But his speed won't help in all tests. After his comment, the next runners were getting ready at the start. Ichako. I'm going to take the gravity off my clothes and my shoes, said the girl as she touched them. And when the robot said to start, the girl started to run. Ichako your Raka. Quirk. 0 gravity. She can take gravity out of anything she touches. But if she uses too much of her power, she might get nauseous. Once the race was over, Ejiro's time was 05.49 seconds, while Ichako crossed the line in 07.05 seconds. Ichako. Well, at least it was better than last time. She was happy with the result. Now it's time for the pink girl, named Mina Shido, and Yuga Aoyama. But before they start running, the boy turns around. Yuga. Nice try, all of you. But you're not showing enough style. Apparently I'll have to show you how to use your quirk. The boy a little while looking the wrong way. He jumps up and shoots a laser that pushes him at high speed. Yuga Aoyama. Quirk. Naval laser. His quirk allows him to fire a glowing laser at his belly button. He loses speed and momentum as he falls, and Mina passes him as he stands up and fires again. But he can't use it all the time. Aoyama's time was 05.51 seconds. Yuga. If I shoot my adorable laser for more than a second, I get a stomachache. Aoyama explained his only weakness like it was nothing while everyone was looking at him like he was weird. Shota. Testing yourself to push your limits helps to see how much you can improve. It is clear what they can and cannot do. Thought Izawa while the last runners, Izuku and Bakugo lined up. The two got into position, and when the sound of the bullet was fired, the two ran. Izuku implanted one for all in his legs, making him gain more speed with his momentum, but the way he was running was different from the others. Izuku was running with his arms behind them, as if he were a ninja. Bakugo even used his blasts to gain speed, but it wasn't enough to outrun Izuku. Izuku's time was 02.74 seconds, while Bakugo's was 04.13. Izuku was pleased to see that his legs held up to one for all, and gave him a satisfactory result. Iida was shocked to see that Izuku had surpassed his speed, and kept saying that he is better than Iida, even with the greenish one saying he was overreacting. Bakugo, on the other hand, was pissed. Bakugo? How did he do that? If he had a quirk, he would have realized it at age 4. He thought while shaking with rage. As for Izawa, he was watching everything. Especially Izuku. Shota. He's not at full throttle. Test 2. Strength to hold. In a gym, students were busy taking the strength test to hold a machine. 0. Amazing. You've reached 540 kilograms. Are you some kind of gorilla or an octopus? Hanta was praising his colleague, Shoji, who reached a strength of 540 kilograms. Mineta. Octopuses are sexy. Minoru Mineta is the shortest of them all and had purple balls in his hair. Izuku kept holding the machine until he accessed one for all. He heard the machine beep and was pleased with the result. He made a force of 676 kilograms. Izuku. That makes me relieved. He thought while smiling. Wow. Izuku heard someone scream beside him. He is a muscular young man of average height and a rather impressive physique for his young age. He has red eyes that are pointed slightly inward and a small scar just above his right eye. He also has small eyebrows and sharp teeth. His hair is quite long, dyed a bright red and spiked at every angle of his head with gel, 2 more pronounced tufts sticking out on either side of his forehead like little horns. His name is Ejiro Kirishima. Kirishima. You're really strong, bro. I don't know if you remember me, but you gave me a little help in the entrance exam. You know, in the practice exam. Izuku starts to remember that time when he first met Kirishima until he remembered when Pointer 1 would attack the boy from behind. He just couldn't because Izuku stopped him by punching the robot in the face, helping Kirishima in the process. Izuku. Ah, yes. I do remember. That was no big deal. Kirishima. Still, what you did was awesome. I'll never forget what you did. He said while punching the greenish shoulder, making him smile. Test 3. Long jump. This test didn't have much of a secret. It was just jumping a long distance on top of a large sandbox. Students like Aoyama, Bakugo and Tsuyu did well in this test, including Izuku. He made a big jump using one for all and made an incredible landing. Izuku. With a little more practice, maybe I can land the same way the boys do. He thought as he looked at his knees before turning to the rest of the class. Test 4. Side jumps. In this test, Mineta did the most well, as he used his balls and bounced from side to side at great speed. Izuku. What a weird and unexpected way to pass a test. Not only him, but many around him thought that when looking at Mineta's performance. Test 5. Ball throw. This test was the same as what Bakugo did in the beginning. At this moment, the one who was throwing the ball was Ichako, who took the gravity off the ball and made it fly and fly. And the result of that was infinite. Most screamed in shock, with Izuku standing with his mouth open and amazed at what he saw. Izuku. That was awesome. He thought, still looking at the sky, where that ball floated far away. Now it was Izuku's turn, but before he could walk to the circle, Aizawa calls out to him. Shota. Midoriya. Aizawa not only caught the attention of the greenish, but of all of his class as well. Izuki. Yes sir. Shota. I'll ask you a question. Why are you holding back on this whole test? Aizawa's question made many of his classmates mutter in shock at what he said. But he ignored them as he came face to face with Izuku. What they didn't know was that All Might was watching. Shota. I saw what you did on the exam. You got some combat points, but you came in the first place thanks to the rescue points you made by helping the other candidates while you were fetching the other robots. I'll ask again. But you're holding back. Why aren't you full steam ahead? Izuku. My power is not that simple, sir. I can access my power, but I don't have full control over it, and if I go over the limit of how much power I can handle, I'll end up breaking my bones. Like that time I punched the Pointer 0. Shota. I see. So you're a risk. Izuku. What? Shota. You're in the UA, Midoriya. Here we have to go beyond our limits with everything. It's either that or you go home. No matter how powerful you are, if you can't control all your power then it's a risk on the battlefield. I want to see your full potential. I don't want you to break all your bones. I just want you to show your plus ultra. As much as you can handle. Here and now. Do this or you're kicked out, got it? Aizawa walked away and threw the ball to him. Shota. You can do this test, but don't hold back too much. Before he could go any further, Izuku asks a question. Izuku. Is recovery Gurlitz here? Izuku's question made Aizawa stop walking for a bit before making a small smile, as he knows why he asked that question. Shota. Yes she is. Izuku. Right. Izuku went to the circle and started to think about what to do. He didn't want to break his entire arm, but he didn't want to let his teacher down. Until he had an idea. He got into launch position, accessed one for all, and brought out all the power he could handle. Just stay in your right hand. Izuku. Smash. Izuku made a launch that forced everyone to cover their eyes due to the strong wind that launch caused. Not to mention that little shock wave that came with it. After the wind subsided, Aizawa looked at his cell phone and was pleased with what he saw. His colleagues, on the other hand, were totally shocked by that show of power. Izuku. Mr. Aizawa. Aizawa looked at Izuku, who was looking at him, even though his hand was all broken. Are you satisfied with my plus ultra? He asked while smiling. Shota. That kid. He said with a very bizarre smile, but it showed that he was satisfied. The result of Izuku's throw was 912.8 meters. After that show of power and Aizawa showing the result of his launch, his colleagues were impressed. Haminari. Did he make it over 900 meters? Ichako. That was amazing. Worthy of a hero record. Tenya. This is interesting. In the exam his arm got broken and now his hand got all swollen up. Midoriya's power is quite peculiar. He said with a hand on his chin. Yuga. It wasn't such a stylish throw. Aoyama being. The Aoyama. While some were impressed and even shocked by it, Bakugo was even more pissed off than he was before. Izuku has demonstrated skill and even good use of his power in previous tests. Surpassing Bakugo himself. Bakugo. No. Bakugo. What does that mean? he asked while releasing small explosions in his hands. Izuku? Huh? Izuku heard Bakugo's question and turned to him. Bakugo? Explain it to me now, Deku. He shouted before running towards the greenish. How did you get in first place? Where did you get that power? Tell me now, damn Deku. Before Izuku could dodge or do anything, Bakugo was held by the cloths of Aizawa, who was red-eyed and his hair floating around. Shota. You better behave yourself if you don't want consequences. Bakugo? How? Is this cloth so hard? Shota. Because this cloth is a capture weapon, made of carbon fiber interwoven with metal wire of a special alloy. Like I said, you better behave yourself. Stop acting like a brat just because he got a better score than you. Bakugo struggled to free himself, but it was no use, not even his quirk was working. Izuku kept looking at Aizawa until he noticed a goggle around his neck and he knows whose goggle it is. Izuku. Teacher Aizawa. Those goggle around your neck. You're the Eraser hero. Eraserhead. Izuku was surprised to know that the hero of the underworld, Eraserhead, is his teacher. His classmates were talking amongst themselves about who Eraserhead is. Some knew him, some didn't. Shota. I think you're observant enough to know so. And you kids better not force me to use my quirk all the time. My eyes go dry. What a waste for such an incredible quirk. They were shocked to learn of Aizawa's quirk disadvantage. Aizawa deactivates his power and releases the Bakugo. Shota. We're wasting time. Midoriya, can you hold on until the last test comes? Izuku, I believe so, sir. Shota. Okay. After the results, you can go to Recovery Girl. Izuku took one last look at the Bakugo before heading over to his classmates and continuing the test. Bakugo stood there very angry before glaring at Izuku, who was talking to Ichako because she was worried about the boy's hand, even though he said he was fine. Bakugo? Until recently, you were nothing. It was just a stumbling block. And it's still a stumbling damn block. He thought while shaking with anger as he looked at him. The remaining tests were rather easy, thanks to Izuku's physique. But in the long-distance race, Izuku lost to a girl named Momoyoi Rozu, who was riding a bicycle. After that, Aizawa comes back with the results. Shota. Okay, I'll quickly report the results. The total is the sum of the grades you got on each test. It would be a waste of time to show you one by one, so I'll show you all the results at once. Aizawa clicked a button on his cell phone when a blue hologram projection appeared showing the list that ranked all the student scores from highest to lowest. Izuku kept his eyes closed until he took a deep breath and opened them. The results were 1. Izuku Midoriya. 2. Momoyoi Rozu. 3. Shoto Todoroki. 4. Katsuki Bakugo. 5. Tenya Iida. 6. Fumikage Tokoyami. 7. Mizo Shoji. 8. Masahiro Jiro. 9. Ijiro Kirishima. 10. Mina Shido. 11. Ichako Uraraka. 12. Koji Koda. 13. Rikido Sato. 14. Sayu Asui. 15. Yuga Aoyama. 16. Hanta Siro. 17. Denki Kaminari. 18. Kyoka Jiru. 19. Toru Hagakure. 20. Minoru Mineta. Izuku sighed in relief. Not because it's first, but because it's not last. Of course, he was surprised and happy to be in first, which he didn't expect. Izuku. This is a relief. But wait a minute, who is Mineta? Mineta? It can't be. Izuku's attention is stolen by that runt boy with the balls in his head. I'll be kicked out on the first day. And I didn't even make a girl like me. He screamed while crying. Izuku? What did he say? Is he like this because of that? Izuku got a question mark in his head. Shota. By the way, I lied about the expulsion. Shota. It was just a trick to get them to use their quirks without holding back. He said while making a strange smile. What? Momo? Come to think of it, it's obvious it was a lie. Hyoka. Mineta. Denki. What a relief. Siro. Damn, that was kind of tense, don't you think? He said while turning to Kirishima. Kirishima. I accept a challenge anytime. Kirishima being the Kirishima. Shota. With that, we're done here. There are curriculum handouts in the classroom, when you get back, check them out. Aizawa walked towards Izuku with a sheet of paper in his hand. Shota. Midoriya, you can go to Recovery Girl. Tomorrow we will have more rigorous tests. Get ready. We can't let you go home with your hand in this state. Izuku looked at the piece of paper and walked over to the nurse. As Aizawa was about to enter, he rounded the corner of the building and was confronted by All Might. All Might. Aizawa, you liar. Shota. Hi All Might. So you were watching all the test. Do you have a lot of free time today? All Might. Was it just a trick? Haha, what a good joke. But April Fool's Day was last week. You punished an entire first-year class last year with expulsion. You cut out the ones you think have no potential. For a man like you, who went back on your words, means you felt it too, right? You also felt the potential of young Midoriya. Shota. Also. You seem to be very supportive of him. Don't you think it's wrong to give Midoriya a little favor now that you're a teacher? All Might shuddered as he realized his mistake. All Might. Damn it. I need to be careful when talking about young Midoriya to the others. He thought as he sweated a little. Shota. Do you think a teacher should act like that? Aizawa starts to walk away, but first he says one last thing. Shota. It's true what you say. In a way, I saw potential in that boy. But that potential will only take him so far in this world. I want to see how he improves. There are still a lot of things he needs to learn to be a pro hero. He needs to stop holding back and go beyond. It was the last thing Aizawa said before leaving All Might alone. All Might. So, are you being nice in your own way, Aizawa? I'm Skip. Front of the school. Classes ended on the first day of school at UA. Many of the students were leaving the front gates as they talked about their first day at UA. Izuku, on the other hand, was walking too, but he had a very tired expression. He had passed Recovery Girl, who took care of his hand using her healing power. The problem is that the cure ends up taking your stamina, and since Recovery Girl used her quirk. You can imagine. He kept walking until he felt a hand grab him on the shoulder. He turned and saw Iida behind him. Izuku. Oh, hi Iida. Denya. How's your hand? Izuku. It's doing great, thanks to Recovery Girl's healing. Denya. I see. Are you going to the station too? Let me accompany you. Izuku. Fine, if you insist. The two started walking towards the gates. But Izuku stared at his bandaged hand. Izuku. I need to hurry up and be able to control one for all even more. Denya. Mr. Aizawa managed to trick us. I never thought that a teacher would lie to his students. All this to encourage us. Izuku. Yeah, I was surprised by that too. But what matters is that no one was expelled and that we should take Mr. Aizawa seriously. Denya. Yeah, you're right. You surprised me too, Midoriya. Your power is quite peculiar. Even though you didn't have much control over it, you managed to come first. Izuku. Yes, but I didn't do well on all the tests, Iida. Hey. The two heard a familiar voice shouting behind them. They turned and saw Ichako running towards them. Ichako. You too. Are you going to the station? Wait for me. Izuku. Uraraka. Denya. Ah, the girl from Infinity. Ichako. Hi everyone. You're Tenya Iida, right? Nice to meet you, I'm Ichako Uraraka. Ichako made a reference to Iida before turning to Izuku. I was looking for you, Takeru. Izuku. Really? Sorry, I was kind of in a hurry. Hehe. He said while rubbing his head. Ichako. It's alright, we can go to the station together now. She said while smiling. Denya. Excuse me. Sorry to interrupt the conversation, but what is this Takeru name? Izuku. So, on the way we'll explain it to you, Iida. Let's go before we lose our ride. The three started walking, with Ichako explaining everything to Iida while Izuku entered his world of thoughts. Izuku. This is amazing. My life is really changing. All thanks to All Might and the turtles. I still have a lot to work on, but I'm glad I got more friends besides my bros. Dad, I hope you are proud of me. Izuku was indeed happy. But what he didn't know was that things were going to get more complicated. Both in his hero life and in his personal life, even more so with some girls in the future. Turtles Hideout. We're back at the Turtles Hideout in Musatafu, with the three brothers busy with something to do while they can't find anything from the Foot Clan in town. But Leonardo was in a corner with his T-phone, talking with someone. Leonardo. How are things in New York? The city is safe. Since the Foot Clan left here, the city has become more calmer. Of course, there are still some crimes going on around here, but nothing that we are the city's heroes can't solve it. Said a girl's voice on the other side of the call. And what's up over there? Anything? Leonardo. For now, nothing yet, Karai. Since we stopped that truck from reaching its destination, the Foot Clan is no longer acting. It's like they're hiding. Planning something. I have a bad feeling about this. Karai. You'll be able to solve it. You know, if you need more help, you can count on us and we'll come over there. Leonardo. Thanks Karai. For now, it's best you keep protecting the city while we're gone. Karai. I know, it's just that. I miss my favorite turtle. Leonardo was flushed by what he heard, but he was also happy with his former enemy's comment. Leonardo. Yeah, I miss you too. Karai. Don't make me hop on a plane and come over there now. Leonardo. I count on that. Karai chuckled before smiling at the comment. Karai. But it's serious now. You guys be careful, especially you Leo. Leonardo. I will, Carrie. I'll call you later, take care. Leonardo hangs up his T-phone before turning around to see his brothers looking at him with mischievous smiles. Leonardo. Don't. Say. Nothing. Michelangelo. Oh, that was so cute, man. Raphael. I felt the atmosphere here. Donatello. Can I be best man? Leonardo. Fine, stop it. All of you. That's not funny. He said with a red face before walking away from them. Michelangelo. Hey guys, can we tell Izuku about this? Mikey whispered to his brothers, who tried to contain their laughter at the idea of Michelangelo. Only, Leo heard what he said. Leonardo. Don't you dare, Mikey. The next day. We are back at the UA school and it's already the second day, and so far, it's been going well for Izuku. During that time, he took regular classes, like the English class with the present Mick. For many it was boring, but Izuku was fine with it. During the cafeteria, he had the pleasure of eating lunch rush's food, which was great for Izuku and Ichako. But later that day, things would get more interesting. All Might. Izuku heard that voice and got excited. All Might in his hero form walking through the door like a normal person. The class was excited to see the hero. Haminari. I can't believe it's All Might that's here. Hiroshima. So he's our teacher here. Oh man, this is going to be awesome. Sai. Hey, isn't that the Silver Age costume? Said as All Might walked awkwardly to the podium. Ajiro. His style gives me goosebumps. All Might. Welcome to the most important class at UA. Here you will learn the basics of being a pro and learn to fight in the name of heroism. Let's go. Said All Might as he landed. And today's lesson is combat training. All Might pulls out a card that says combat on it and shows it to the class. Bakugo. Combat. Bakugo got a smile. Izuku. Training. All Might. And one of the most important things about a hero is this. All Might shouted, pointing to the wall, which came out suitcases with numbers on them. Your costumes were made from your quirk records and requests made before the start of the school year. Get dressed and meet me at ground beta. All. Yes, sir. Everyone yelled as they went to the wall and grabbed their bags. Ground beta. All Might was standing on the street in front of the exit as he heard footsteps of several feet echoing out of the tunnel. All Might. They say clothes are part of a hero, ladies and gentlemen. And you are proof of that. Take it seriously from now on. You are all heroes in training. Everyone left the tunnel with their hero costumes, except Izuku who hasn't arrived yet. All Might. You guys are awesome. Without wasting time, let's get started. Flashback. 3 weeks ago. At Izuku's house, he was sitting in the living room with a bunch of papers and his notebook on the table. Izuku. The costume subsidy. What am I going to do? I need to go to the city hall to get my costume registration. The problem is, how am I going to get my registrations if I'm already registered as someone without quirk? Oh, maybe the Toshinori sensei knows what to do. Izuku took his cell phone and called All Might. Toshinori. The quirk records. Just update your record. Toshinori said through the cell phone. Izuku. That easy. Toshinori. Of course, everyone makes a record when they enter school, don't they? See, there are cases where many people think their quirk is one thing, but it might be more than they thought. You can update your records once or twice when you understand them better. Normally, they don't accept such radical changes, but since you didn't have any power, I think it's okay to update them more. In fact, I think that. Inko. I'm here. Inko said while Izuku panicked and turned off his cell phone. But it didn't take long for him to realize what he'd done. Izuku. Oh, my god. I hung up on him. Said Izuku while his mother walked towards him. Hi mom. Inko. Son, I'm glad you're here. I want to show you something. Inko reached into her bag and pulled out a ninjutsu kimono with black color on it. Inko. I was going through our old stuff and found this. Thought I'd give it to you after I managed to get into UA. Izuku. A ninjutsu kimono? Inko. Yes, it was your father's. Izuku's eyes widened when Inko said that. Izuku. Was this kimono my father's? Inko. Of course. He wore it during classes at an old friend's dojo. It was the Hamato clan's dojo. Izuku's eyes widened. Of course, he knows about the friendship that Yashi and his father had, but he didn't know that Hisashi was also a student there. Inko. Izuku, I want to apologize to you. Inko had a sad expression on her face. Izuku. But for what? Inko. I may have supported you even when you were diagnosed as having no quirks, but at the same time, I was really scared that you would follow that dream. Even more so when Hisashi was gone. Since then, it didn't seem like I was supporting you. But look at you now. You stayed strong, never gave up, and now you're on your dream path. Izuku kept smiling at her. I'm sorry for everything, my son, but from now on, I'll support you with everything I have. Izuku took his father's kimono and stared at him. Until he noticed an interesting detail on it. It had the Hamato clan symbol on the right front part of the kimono. End of flashback. Izuku was running out of the tunnel with the kimono, which will be his hero costume. He showed it to the brothers and to Splinter, who was happy to know that his friend had kept that outfit with him and that now, Izuku will use it as his costume. But not only that. The greenish added a few more things to her look. Izuku comes out of the tunnel and we get the full view of what he's wearing. His hero attire consists of a black kimono with the Hamato clan symbol on the right side of his chest, white bands around both of Izuku's fists. Around his waist, he had a utility belt with some Donny baubles. And to honor his brothers, Izuku took that green belt that Mikey put on the greenish one during his training, made 2 holes in it, and put it between his eyes. Izuku. This is my hero costume. He thought with pride of the look. Ichako noticed Izuku's presence and marveled at the boy's look. Ichako. Takeru-kun. Izuku, hi Uraraka. Izuku blushed as he looked at the girl's outfit. Ichako. What an amazing hero costume. Simple but amazing. I confess it even looks cute on you. You look like a ninja or something. Izuku. Thanks. Is this your hero costume? Ichako. Yeah. I forgot to describe what I wanted, so my outfit turned out to be pretty tight. She said while she was a little embarrassed. Izuku. Uraraka looks so pretty in this outfit. Oh my god, oh my god. Her outfit really highlights yours. Don't wait. What are you thinking, Izuku? Don't he thinking about these things? Once again, Izuku was having a fight in his head after seeing Ichako's costume. Ichako. It gets pretty embarrassing. I don't think it looks good on me. Izuku. Don't say that. You look great. I think you look really cute in that outfit of yours. Izuku said this without thinking too much, but when he realized what he said, the poor boy despaired inside. Izuku. I didn't say that. Oh my. I did. Ichako. Really? Thank you so much, Takeru-kun. Ichako was blushing but happy with the boy's praise. Izuku. You're welcome. Mineta. The hero course is the best. He said while lifting her thumb, and only Izuku heard it. All Might looked at Izuku's costume and liked it. All Might. At least you're not trying to copy my look and you're being yourself. That's good, but I just think it's weird that you take this ninja talk so seriously. What is this movie he watched? All Might. Now that you're ready. It's time for combat training. After saying that, a guy in armor raised his hand. Denya. Sir. Izuku turned around and realized who was inside the armor. Izuku. Is that Iida in there? Whoa, what a nice outfit. Denya. This is the fake city from our entrance exam. So does that mean we'll do urban training again? All Might. No, we're going to take 2 steps forward. He said while raising both fingers. Most of the battles with villains you see on the news take place outside. However, the most terrible villains fight inside. Think about it. Illegal business, prisons, false imprisonment. Smarter villains lurk in the shadows. Izuku. But the turtles do that to villains too. Especially since they are ninjas. If a hero does this to a villain, does that mean we're wrong to attack stealthily? Izuku thought with his hand on his chin. All Might. In today's class, you will be divided into groups of heroes and villains, and will fight in 2-on-2 battles. Sayu. Isn't it a little advanced? We don't have basic training. Izuku. Well. I actually have it. Maybe even more than the basics. All Might. The best training you'll get is on the battlefield. But remember, you're not dealing with robots this time. You're dealing with real people. Momo. Sir, will you decide who will win? Akigu. Can we really hit? Ichako. Do we need to worry about the expulsion of the other group? Denya. How will the division of who will be hero or villain be? Yuga. Does this cape look great on me? All Might. Hold on, I'll answer you already. Said All Might while picking up a script. Listen. Izuku. Is this a script? All Might. The situation is this. The villains have hidden a nuclear missile somewhere in their hideout. The heroes must try to disrupt their plans. To do that, the good guys must capture the villains or get the nuke just in time. As for villains, they can succeed by protecting your weapon or capturing the heroes. Izuku. It looks like something from an American movie. All Might. Teams will be drawn in this box. Said All Might with a box in his hands. Denya. Isn't there a better way? Izuku turned to Iida and said. Izuku. Think about it. Heroes often team up with other heroes from other agencies in the place. That way, we learn to work as a team with different heroes. Denya. Oh, I see. Life is a series of random events. I apologize for my rudeness. Iida bowed. All Might. No problem. Now let's draw teams. Team A. Midoriya and Yaoi Rozu. Team B. Shoji and Todoroki. Team C. Mineta and Hagakure. Team D. Iida and Bakugo. Team E. Fumikage and Aoyama. Team F. Sato and Kota. Team G. Kaminari and Jiru. Team H. Uraraka and Asui. Team I. Ejiro and Ishido. Team J. Shiro and Kirishima. Momo. You must be Midoriya, right? Izuku turned around and came across to Momo Yaoi Rozu, a girl who has long black hair that is usually tied back in a spiky ponytail, with a large lock hanging down the right side of her face. Her eyes are thin and penetrating, dark in color and paired with short eyebrows and a determined expression. Her hero costume consists of a high-collared, sleeveless crimson leotard with silver lines at her waist and around her arms, which is open to expose her skin from her neck to just below her navel. She sports calf-length red boots with heels, which dip sharply down in the center, and 2 gold utility belts around her waist, another, thinner one around the top portion of her chest, below her shoulders. The design choice allows her to create items from as many points in her body as possible, as her quirk can only be used if her skin is exposed. Izuku was a little embarrassed to see the girl's attire, but he kept his cool. Izuku. Why yes, it's me. And why you must be Yaoi Rozu, right? I'm counting on you. He said while making a small reverence. Momo. I say the same, Midoriya. Momo returned the gesture. All Might. And the first teams that will face each other will be these here. All Might showed the balls with the letters A and D on them. Both teams were shocked to be the first. All Might. Team A will be the heroes, and Team D will be the villains. Everyone else can go to the monitoring room to watch. Yes, sir. Izuku looks at the ground, worried that his fight will be in a few minutes. He looks to the side and realizes that the Bakugo was looking at him with a hateful look, which makes the boy shiver a little. He looks at the ground and notices that his hands are also shaking, but he has remembered everything the turtles taught him. Izuku no longer needs to be afraid of Bakugo. He looks at Bakugo and glares at him, which causes the explosive blonde to look surprised before he gets angrier. All Might. Alright. Villains, enter the building and prepare. You have 5 minutes to prepare until the heroes are released and the battle begins. Izuku. Momo. Tenya. Yes, sir. All Might. Young Iida, young Bakugo. Think from the villain's point of view, then you can attack. But if things go too far, I'll interfere. Tenya. Yes, sir. Bakugo wasn't listening to what All Might was saying. He kept looking at Izuku, who stared back at him. Bakugo gritted his teeth in absolute rage at the sight before entering the building. Inside of the building, Iida and Bakugo were in a room with a large missile. Tenya. Even though it's just training, it hurts to conform to a villainous behavior, he said as he approached the bomb. So, this is the weapon we must protect. He hit the bomb. It's made of papier match. Bakugo. Hey. Iida turns to Bakugo, who was standing at the door. Do you think Deku has a quirk? Tenya. Huh. Didn't you see how he threw that ball with that super strength of his? From what I've seen, his power can hurt his body if he goes to a certain level where he has no control. Speaking of Midoriya, why? Do you get angry when it comes to him? Do you two have a history together? He asked while Bakugo was shaking. Bakugo? During all these years he was deceiving me? How dare he do that? Was he laughing behind my back? Bakugo got a sinister look on his face. But it won't stay that way, you damn nerd. Outside of the building. Outside, Momo was looking at the blueprints of the building along with Izuku. But the boy's head was thinking of something else, which was this fight that was going to happen. Izuku knew that at some point or another, he would face Bakugo. He just didn't expect it to be this early. But he remembered something Leonardo said to him. Flashback. During this time he trained with Splinter, Izuku decided to take a break from his training. While walking to the turtles' room, Izuku sees Donnie, Raph and Mikey watching a basketball game on TV, and they were hoping like crazy for their team to score a basket. That scene was fun in Izuku's view, but then he got a little crestfallen. Leonardo. Is there a problem, Izuku? Izuku didn't notice that Leo approached him, since he saw the greenish one looking at his brothers making that scene. Izuku. Nothing, it's nothing, Leo. He said as he went back to looking at the 3 brothers watching TV. Leo didn't believe it and decided to do something to help Izuku. Leonardo. You know, since I got to know you better, I've noticed that you seem to carry a lot of trauma and even burdens for someone in your age. Izuku. Leonardo. You know what, some say that for solutions to inner disturbances, it starts with a friendly ear. My ear is open, if you care to use it. He said while smiling as he stood with his arms crossed. Izuku. Thanks, Leo. It's the first time I've heard something like this. Leonardo. Nobody ever did that for you? Not counting your parents. Izuku. It's complicated. The only friend I thought I had was Kaken, but… After 4 years, I never really had a friend. Leonardo. This Bakugo guy, do you ever think about facing him one day when necessary? Izuku. Maybe. But I'm not sure what to do when that day comes. Leonardo. But I know very well what you can do. Izuku turned to Leo, who placed his left hand on the greenish man's shoulder. Leonardo. Show him that you're someone else. Show him how wrong this Bakugo is about you. Stand up to him and show him what you can do. Show him that you can become a hero. Show him that you belong to UA. Show your strength. Show your worth, Izuku. Leonardo said that last part with a smile. Leo patted the greenish man on the shoulder before joining his brothers. Izuku stood there without showing any reaction other than admiration for what Leo said. With a determined gaze, Izuku looks down at his right hand and clenches his fist. He looks at the brothers having fun and decides to join them. He doesn't understand anything about basketball, but what matters is that he will have fun with his friends. End of flashback. Izuku, I will do that, Leo. He thought as he looked at his fist with a serious expression. Momo. Midoriya. Midoriya. Izuku. What? Yes. Momo. Is something wrong? Izuku. Oh no. I was just thinking of a plan to win this training. Momo. Have you thought of any? Izuku. It's kind of risky, but yeah. I have a feeling Kakin is going to come after me, so I'll try to keep him busy while you find the bomb. Is that okay for you? Momo nodded in agreement. They waited until All Might gave the signal. All Might. All right. They heard All Might speak through the sound system. Let's start combat training. Team A, Team D. Your time starts now. Monitoring room. The students and All Might were in a room with a large screen with multiple monitors at different angles. All Might. Pay attention, young people. Think about what you would do if you were in this situation. All Might. Young Midoriya. In this class, you are just one of my students, not my successor. I wish you luck. All Might thought as he grabbed his microphone, spoke into it and had a headset in his ear. Ichako also watched intently while her hands were on her chest. Ichako. Good luck, Dakiru-kun. Izuku and Momo entered the front door and walked intently. They found nothing on the first and second floors, but when they reached the third, Izuku felt his instincts warning him to dodge, but first he grabs Momo and shields her from the blast. Momo. Midoriya, are you okay? The girl was blushing at what the boy did to protect her, but she was worried if her classmate got hurt. Izuku. I'm fine. You already know what to do. Go and find the bomb, I'll take care of it. Izuku said that in a whisper. Bakugo. So, Deku. Did you think you'd get away with me? Izuku. Actually, I knew you'd come after me. He said as he got up. Back to the monitoring room. Mineta. He jumped on them. Everyone saw what Bakugo just did. Hiroshima. A surprise attack. Isn't that a man thing? All Might. It's a good strategy. He's playing his role. Acting like a real villain. Mina. Did you guys see how Midoriya dodged? Kaminari. Bakugo is heading his way. Kaminari said while watching Bakugo attack the heroes. Bakugo. I won't hurt you so much that they'll have to stop the fight. But I'll get close to it. Now fight me. He said as he ran towards Izuku, intending to attack him. Bakugo aimed another blast, but Izuku intercepted it, slamming his palm straight into the boy's stomach, causing him to feel a little pain. But Izuku didn't stop there. He grabbed the explosive blonde's arm, twisted it and moved his body while pulling Bakugo over his shoulder and slamming him to the ground. Monitoring room. Ajiro. Damn. What move was that? Ichako. That was amazing. It was a martial arts blow. Ichako was happy to see that Izuku took the first blow and knocked down Bakugo with everything. Everyone in the monitoring room was amazed at what they had just seen. Izuku. You know what I have noticed, Kakin. You always start with a right punch in a fight. I know that because I've been watching you for years. Bakugo slowly got up and turned towards Izuku. Izuku. I've analyzed all the amazing heroes out there. Including you. You know the notebook you blew up at school. You were in it. In other words, my little friend, I know you very well. Bakugo glared at Izuku and started to get angry. Izuku kept his eyes closed and said one more thing. Izuku. And I'm not the Deku anymore. That weak useless Deku you knew has changed to another one now. Now. I'm. Takeru. He said as he opened his eyes and got a very serious and determined expression. Izuku. And I'm not Deku anymore. That weak Deku you knew has changed to another one now. Now. I'm. Takeru. We're in a building in ground beta and right now, combat training is going on between 4 students. But 2 of them are staring at each other as if they were real enemies. Those 2 are Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku is standing still, calm and serious, while Bakugo is looking like a wild animal. Bakugo? He's not even shaking. Who does he think he is? you're just a weakling," he thought while releasing small explosions with his hand. "Izuku. Yayoi Rozu, hurry up," he said without looking at the girl. Momo hesitated at first, but seeing that Izuku was confident and in control of the situation, she ran. "Denya. Bakugo. On listening. Give me a report on your situation. Where are you?" Iida called through a headset in Bakugo's ear. Bakugo went to the headset and said, "Bakugo. Just shut up and defend the bomb, 4 eyes. I'm really angry right now." "Denya. Are you forgetting our mission?" Iida asked before hearing a cut in the call. "Denya. Hello? Hello?" He hung up on me. "This is not the time. We should be partners." Iida yelled, frustrated by Bakugo's attitude. Monitoring room. Hiroshima. "Hey, who is Bakugo talking to? And why can't we hear anything? There's no sound in this video." The student saw that Bakugo was clearly talking to someone, but they couldn't hear anything on the video. All Might. "Oh, I gave each of them headphones so they can communicate with their partners along with a building map. In addition to the capture tape reels. With the capture tapes around your opponent, it means that they are being captured. Mina. There's a time limit of 15 minutes, and the heroes don't even know where the bomb is." All Might. "That's right. Mina. So that means the heroes are at a big disadvantage." All Might. "The true heroes have to overcome villains in our daily lives. This is the life of a hero, even when the odds are against us. We have to fight." The students were inspired by All Might's words. "Now, all together. Plus ultra." Everyone shouted the school motto. "Yuga. Mousier, Bakugo is on the move." Aoyama noticed something, and everyone turned their attention to the screen. "Bakugo? You think you can beat me even more so without using your quirk?" "Izuku. I'm not saying anything. You're the only one who's saying this and it hurts yourself," he said in a serious tone without leaving his fighting position. Bakugo was irritated by Izuku's answer. The two stared at each other until Bakugo advanced towards Izuku using his explosions as an impulse and made a kick towards Izuku's head, but the greenish one grabbed his leg and elbowed it, making Bakugo feel a little pain. But he didn't have to react when Izuku, who was still holding the Bakugo's leg, slammed him into the wall. But Bakugo gets up and tries to attack him with an explosion, however, Izuku dodged it with a jump back and advances towards Bakugo and kicks him in the face with a spin during his jump, causing the explosive blonde to stagger before feeling a shock. Another kick to his chest, causing him to fall to the ground. Annoyed at being knocked down a third time, Bakugo unleashes a blast at the greenish one, who dodges it with a leap towards the wall. But Bakugo didn't give up and advanced towards Izuku with an explosion, thus causing a lot of smoke. And again, Izuku dodged and took advantage of that smoke to hit Bakugo directly in the belly with the palm of his hand, making the blonde hit the other wall. He watched the smoke slowly disappear, and when it dissipated, Izuku disappeared. Bakugo and everyone in the monitoring room were surprised by the disappearance of the greenish during the smoke. "Bakugo? Where are you, Deku?" "Izuku? Over here." Bakugo heard the greenish man's voice in one of the corridors and ran there, but when he got to the place where he heard the voice, he didn't find anything. He kept running and looking for the greenish one, but he couldn't find anything, and that made him angrier. "Bakugo? Where are you, you damn nerd? Come out and fight," he said while releasing explosions in his hands. What he didn't know was that Izuku was close and heard Bakugo scream very well. "Izuku? Right, as far as I know. Yayoi Rozu's quirk is creation, so she can create any object that can come out of her skin. I just hope she's doing well while I take care of Kaken." Meanwhile, Momo is hiding behind one of the pillars in the room where Iida has the bomb. "Momo. Great. I better contact Midoriya so we can finish this." But before she could communicate with Izuku, she heard Iida say something. "Denya. Bakugo has an evil side. But that's exactly what I need for us to succeed in this training. I must temporarily dedicate myself to the temptation of crime. Yeah, I won't fail this obstacle and shame the Iida family. So, I must embrace evil to become a hero." Iida turned to the door and continued. "I am the embodiment of villainy." Iida shouted to himself in a false villain voice. "Momo? Oh no. He's taking it too seriously. Don't laugh. Don't laugh." Momo was struggling to contain her laughter, but it wasn't working very well. "Denya? What? Ah, a heroine. I know you're there, show yourself now," he said while trying to act in a good way. Evil. But that didn't sit well with him, and she noticed it. "Momo. Sigh, good work, Momo," she said as she walked away from the pillar. "Denya. Ever since Bakugo came out, I suspected that one of you heroes would come here. You may have an impressive quirk, heroine. But no, I won't let you stop me. Ha 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 ha. Momo. My god, Iida. You don't have to take it so seriously," she thought as she looked like she couldn't believe what she was seeing. Monitoring room. Haminari. Damn, Bakugo isn't holding back at all. Kirishima. Yeah, but still, Midoriya faced him without using his quirk. That's very brave and manly of him. Sai. Even with a quirk that involves a lot of strength until he's doing well. Kiro. Bajiro. And I'm curious about something. How did Midoriya learn to fight like that? All Might. There's a question I also want to know. Young Midoriya never told me he knew how to fight martial arts. That kind of explains why he did well on the entrance exam, but I didn't teach him how to fight like that. But that might be good. So I don't have to worry about teaching him to fight. The way now is for him to get more control of One for All. Ichako. I hope Takeru-kun team wins. She thought as she watched the screens where Izuku was and where Momo was. You can do it, Takeru-kun. Back to Izuku. Izuku was standing watching the Bakugo, who kept looking for the greenish one, until Izuku hears a voice on your headset. Momo. Midoriya. Are you listening? Izuku. Yes, I am. How is your situation? He said in a very low tone. Momo. Listen, I found the bomb and it's in the middle of the 5th floor. But Iida saw me and maybe I need a little help. Izuku. Okay, I'm coming to help you and get this over with. It was the only thing he said before taking his hand off his earpiece. Izuku. The time is ticking. I better get this over with now. He thought as he took the capture tape. Izuku comes out of his hiding place to show himself to Bakugo, who didn't notice the greenish man's presence. Bakugo. Where are you, you bastard? Izuku. I'm right behind you. Bakugo turned around and saw Izuku standing with the capture tape in his hands. Bakugo. Finally, you've decided to build up your courage and be a real man. Come on. Face me and use that quirk of yours on me so I can prove that I'm better than you. Izuku. Izuku didn't say anything, he just got into position to face Bakugo and pin him down with his tape. Bakugo? You're underestimating me. Damn it. He thought as he shook with rage, clenched his teeth and released small explosions with his hands. The two stared at each other until Bakugo lunged at him with an explosion in his face, but Izuku dodged it and wrapped a ribbon around his right arm. Bakugo tries to use his arm to hit the greenish man's face, but Izuku catches him before he lets out an explosion and wraps him with the ribbons, thus bringing the two arms together. Bakugo tries to attack him with his arms together, but Izuku bent down and wrapped the ribbons around his two legs. And to finish, Izuku trips Bakugo's feet, making him fall to the ground again. All this in one quick motion. Izuku gets up and lets out a calm sigh, while the Pomerian is going crazy on the floor. Everyone in the monitoring room was in shock at Izuku's speed in incapacitating the Bakugo. Bakugo? You bastard. Let go of me and fight me for real. Izuku. This fight is over, Kakin. He said before turning around. Bakugo. I'm warning you, Deku. More and more. I'm getting very angry and I want to crush you. Izuku stops walking and turns his head a little, without looking directly at Bakugo. Izuku. It's your anger and your ego that's the problem. If you let them consume you, soon you lose sight of what you're doing. Here's a tip from a classmate for you. Think about it. Said before running to Momo. Bakugo got even more angry. He didn't like that Izuku had easily trapped him and that he still wanted to teach himself. Thanks for watching and supporting us. He stared at the capture tapes around him and started to think. Izuku reaches the floor that Momo mentioned and finds the room. When opening the door, the greenish one sees Momo on guard while Iida. Well. Denya. Well. The other hero appeared. Said in a villainous way. Izuku looked like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He knows Iida takes things very seriously, but he never thought he'd get to this point. Denya. Bakugo, are you listening? Iida tried to communicate with his partner, but. Izuku. It's no use, Iida. I already took care of him. He said while walking towards Momo. Denya. What? Iida despaired. Now he was alone. He doesn't know how to fight too, but he wouldn't give up that easily. Izuku looked at Momo and gave a sign that he would take care of Iida while she went to the bomb. She understands and nodded. Izuku slowly walks towards Iida, who felt a little intimidated until the greenish one runs all over him. Izuku. I'll stop your evil plans, villain. Yes, Izuku decided to get in the Iida mood. Iida tries to kick Izuku, but the greenish one bent down and punched him in the torso of his armor, causing Iida to back away a little. But he didn't have time to react as Izuku gave a small kick to the boy's right leg, bringing him to his knees. Iida tries to react, trying to punch or kick, but Izuku dodged it with ease as he jumped back. Iida sees Momo approaching the bomb, but before he could run to it, Izuku sprang up, knocked the boy down, and held him to the ground getting on top. Iida tries to do something, but it was too late. Momo touched the bomb. Momo. It's done. All Might. And the heroes team won. Izuku sighed in relief as he got off Iida, who was whimpering. Izuku reaches out to his classmate who accepts his help to get up. Denya. I failed. He said as he took off his helmet. Izuku. Don't keep thinking about it, man. It was just training and you did it well. Take today's expectation and use it to improve yourself in the future. He said with a smile as he showed his hand to his friend to shake hands. Denya. You're right. Thank you, Midoriya. He said as he shook the green man's hand. Izuku turned and walked over to Momo. Momo. You did a good job, Midoriya. Izuku. We did a good job, Yaoi Rozu. I couldn't have done it without you. He said while smiling and bowing. Momo blushed a little and was even happy about it. But she wasn't confident that she did much. Momo. But I didn't do almost nothing. Izuku. Nothing. Are you serious? You found the bomb and decided to choose to work as a team instead of acting alone. If that's next to nothing, then I'm going to have to disagree with you. Momo felt happy about Izuku's comment. She doesn't have much confidence in herself, but seeing that a guy was seeing worth in her, it only made her feel a little warm inside. Momo, thank you, Midoriya. She said while smiling. Monitoring room. All Might. And apparently, the victory went to the heroes. Sato. And they managed to get the bomb before time ran out. He said while pointing to the remaining time that was left, which was 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Ichako. I knew they would make it. She said with his fist raised. Hiroshima. That's what I call a hero at work and taking action. While others were commenting on what they saw, Tokoyami saw something that surprised him, and he warned All Might. Tokoyami. All Might, look. All Might turned to the screen and couldn't believe what he was seeing. Back to Izuku. Bakugo. I'm already loaded. The three looked towards the door and saw Bakugo standing with his right arm raised towards Izuku. Izuku. But how did you get loose? Bakugo. I just kept using my explosions, you shit. Did you really think you could beat me without using your quirk? Denya. Bakugo, that's enough. The training is over, we lost. Bakugo. I won't accept this defeat until the nerd fights me with his quirk. Momo. Bakugo, calm down. What you're doing is not heroic behavior. Izuku. She's right. Kaken, calm down and think. Your anger is making you act without thinking straight. Let's all calm down and think about what we learned today. Bakugo. What I've learned is that you're making fun of me and that you're underestimating me. Izuku. What are you talking about? Bakugo. For all these years, you've lied to me with that talk that you didn't have a quirk. And now just because you did some ninja moves, you thought that would be enough to defeat me. Izuku. I'm not underestimating you. You're the one who's impatient, hot-headed and self-centered. You're the one who doesn't think straight. Bakugo was annoyed by Izuku's comment, but he smiled afterwards. Bakugo. Since you're so observant. You probably know how my amazing quirk works. Bakugo pointed his right gauntlet straight at Izuku. I secrete a substance similar to nitroglycerin in my sweat from my hands and make it explode. Imagine what I could do if I had too much. Bakugo pulls the level of the gauntlet as if he was cocking a gun, and a pin pops out of it. He positions himself and continues. Bakugo. These gauntlets weren't just made for show. They've been storing my sweat for a monstrous blast. He said as he put a finger on the pin. Izuku. Wait, he will. Oh no. No. Izuku's eyes widened. Monitoring room. All Might heard everything in the monitoring room and despaired. All Might. Young Bakugo, that's enough. You'll end up killing them. Everyone was in shock at what they heard. Zero. Is he crazy? Hiroshima. He wouldn't do that. Would he? Ichako. Takeru-kun, get out of there. She screamed desperate for Izuku's safety. Back to Izuku. Bakugo. He won't die if he dodges. He said as he pulled the pin. Izuku despaired, he saw that Iida was safe to save himself from the explosion, but Momo was not. So on impulse, he pushes her to a corner of the room where she would be safe, and Izuku moves a little to the side and gets his arms in the shape of an X to try to protect himself from the explosion that came with everything, destroying much of the room and making a big hole in the wall. After the explosion ended along with her shock, everyone turned their attention to where Izuku was. All Might and Ichako were worried in the monitoring room, already in the building. Iida and Momo got up from the floor and looked for Izuku. All Might. Young Midoriya, can you hear me? Come on, answer me. Denya. Bakugo, do you realize what you've done? Bakugo. That's what he gets for underestimating me and making fun of me. Momo. Midoriya. Midoriya, where are you? Momo looked through the smoke to see if Izuku appeared. And when the smoke clears, we see that Izuku was on his feet, but his arms were burned along with part of his costume. Everyone, even those who were watching in the monitoring room, was shocked to see the state of the boy, who lowered his arms and had his head down while shaking a little. Bakugo. So, nerd. What do you think? Are you going to give up or are you going to face me? I know you can still move. Come on, come up with your quirk. Fight with me to show that I'm superior than you. Izuku. Izuku was just shaking, but it was from anger. He's already endured too much. He has suffered too much at his hands. He even took it easy on him, but even so, Bakugo continues to act violently, even losing in training. But what left Izuku the most enraged is the fact that Bakugo damaged the suit that belonged to his father. That one of the only memories he had of Hisashi. And Bakugo damaged it just like that. Izuku. Look what you did. He thought angrily when he saw the burnt and damaged kimono. Denya. Midoriya. Are you okay? Yaoirozu, we have to take him to the nurse. Momo. Right. Midoriya. Momo was clearly worried about the boy's state, but that she could get closer, Izuku said something. Izuku. If that's what you want. Izuku raises his head and shows that he was very furious. That's what you'll get. Izuku went all out for Bakugo, who didn't have time to react. He was punched hard in the stomach that sent him crashing into the wall. Before he could fight back, he was kicked in the leg and punched in the face, knocking him to the ground. But Izuku didn't stop there. He grabbed Bakugo's collar and made him stand up, then grabbed him by the arm and knocked him down to the ground. Bakugo was in a lot of pain and tried to land an explosion in the greenish man's face, but Izuku simply punched him in the arm, grabbed his face and slammed him against the wall. Bakugo was weak and in too much pain to fight back, and he looked into Izuku's face, which was showing the purest anger. Izuku had his fist raised with one for all activated, ready to throw a punch with his quirk. It doesn't matter if it breaks your arm or not. But before he can hit Bakugo, Izuku felt someone grab his shoulder, and when he turned around, he saw All Might. All Might. It's okay, young Midoriya. Calm down. You don't have to do this. Izuku calmed down and saw what he was doing. Izuku beat up Bakugo, but he knew it wasn't a hero thing. He was seized with rage. Izuku lets go of Bakugo's face, causing him to fall to the ground already unconscious. Izuku. What did I do? What got into me? It was the only thing he thought of before he was knocked unconscious from the shock, the attack he received and the injuries. All Might held him and laid the greenish one on the floor. He checked that Iida and Momo were okay, and in doing so, All Might took Izuku and Bakugo to the nurse. Recovery Girl would take care of them. After that, All Might returns to the monitoring room with Iida and Momo. All Might. Thanks for waiting. Hope you guys didn't get impatient. Ichako. All Might, is Midoriya going to be okay? She said in a worried tone. All Might. Of course he will. He and young Bakugo are going to the nurse right now. They'll just need to rest. All Might. Then I'll talk to young Midoriya about Bakugo. Aizawa won't like this at all. All Might. Well, before the next teams do their practices. Tell me, in this training here, who was the MVP? So the classes continued until all the matches were over. In the nurse, Izuku finally woke up after a while. Izuku? Where am I? Recovery Girl. Oh, you woke up. Izuku turned around and saw Recovery Girl walking to his side. Izuku. Recovery Girl. How long have I been here? Recovery Girl. You've been here all afternoon. Izuku. How is it? Izuku was shocked to find out that he missed most of today's classes. Recovery Girl. You heard me right. You and that boy were here for a while, but he left a few minutes ago. Izuku. I see. Recovery Girl glared at him for a moment before slamming her cane to her head. It wasn't very strong, but I could feel it. Izuku. Wow. Why did you do that? Recovery Girl. You should be more careful. You almost got in the middle of that explosion and stayed there. You could have died. You can go now, but next time, be more careful. Understood. Izuku. Why yes ma'am. Izuku leaves the infirmary and walks the halls. As he walked to his room, Izuku sighed at the thought of today's events and having missed his other classes. Izuku. Mr. Aizawa is going to kill me. Oh man. Izuku. I just hope I'm not exaggerating that time I hit Bakugo. Izuku arrived at his classroom, and when he opened the door, he was bombarded by his classmates. Hiroshima. Hey Midabro. Man, the way you fought was really cool bro. Zero. Hey, man. I'm Hanta Zero, and you were amazing out there, Midoriya. Ioka. Hello, I don't know if you remember me, but you helped me in the entrance exam. I'm Kyoka Jiru, and I must admit that you did well out there. Yes, Jiru was one of the candidates who received a little help from Izuku when he was looking for his points. Mina. I'm Mina Shido, and those dodges of yours were amazing. Yuga. You were far from elegant, but you had style, Monami. I must admit. Tsuyu. Nice to meet you, I'm Tsuyu Asui. But you can call me Tsu, and I hope we can be friends Kiro. Izuku didn't expect to receive such praise and was even embarrassed by it. Being praised by a lot of people wasn't something that happened a lot in his life, but it was something that made him happy. Momo. Midoriya, are you okay? Momo immediately walked up to Izuku upon seeing him at the door and approached him with a worried face. Izuku. Oh, hi Yaoi Rozu. I'm fine, yes, nothing serious happened. But what about you, how are you? Momo. That's good. I'm fine thanks to you. Thank you so much and I'm sorry. I couldn't help you that time. She said as he bowed. Izuku. And no need to do that, Yaoi Rozu. I just did what a hero would do, the problem is I didn't think to save myself either. So I apologize for worrying you. He said while smiling and rubbing his head. Momo blushed a little at that, but smiled back. Some in the room found this strange, while a certain short man was jealous. It continued like this until Kaminari and Ichako entered holding some books. Kaminari. Hey, after that, do you feel like going out to eat? What do you like? Ichako. I like. Ichako stopped talking when she saw Izuku. Dakiru-kun. Dakiru-kun. She dropped the books on a table, ran to him and hugged him very carefully, all this time she was worried about him. Ichako. How are you? Is there still a part that hurts a lot? You made me very worried. Izuku. Why yes, I'm fine. I'm sorry I worried you, but I'm fine now. Izuku blushed and embarrassed for being hugged by the girl. He looked around and saw that some boys were giving him a thumbs up, others looked at this scene with envy, while the girls were shocked by it and even surprised because of that. But he also noticed that there was someone missing from that room. Izuku. So. Where's Bakugo? Hiroshima. Ah, he just left now. Hearing this, Izuku walks to the door, but before he can leave. Ichako. Dakiru-kun, where are you going? Izuku. I want to have a serious talk with him. He said before running down the hall. Mineta. Is there going to be a fight? Hiroshima. I hope not. Izuku was running through the halls until he saw Bakugo in front of the school. Then he quickened his pace and stayed behind him. Izuku. So there you are. Bakugo turned around and when he saw the greenish one, he got hate in his eyes. Bakugo. What do you want now, Deku? Did you come to making fun of me? Izuku. Well, considering all these years of physical and emotional abuse. Making fun of you now isn't even the tip of the iceberg. Bakugo. Oh, so you really came to making fun of me, just like you did all these years. Izuku. What are you talking about? Bakugo. Don't be an idiot, Deku. Before, you said you didn't have a quirk and out of nowhere, you appear with a power of super strength. But even so, you didn't even use it against me and beat me in front of these extras. Who do you think you are to underestimate me? Izuku. First of all. I never underestimated you. Second. What I did today was not even half of what you've done to me. And third. I never lied to you or anyone. My quirk just only woke up late, that's all. Bakugo. And you think I'll believe that? Izuku. Think, Bakugo. If I had a quirk since I was 4 years old, why would I have to lie? Why wouldn't I show it to everyone, including you? What would I gain by lying to everyone? And why would I let that everyone, including you, to do everything I've been through for years? Bakugo was silent. He was frustrated that he lost to Izuku, who beat him without using his quirk, and everyone in his class watched. This one had a feeling he never thought he would, inferiority. Izuku. Don't get me wrong. I don't want your enmity, and I didn't come here to fight or make fun of you. I came here to make the things very clear to you. I won't be that Deku anymore. I'm not your punching bag anymore. And I recommend you think about all your behavior. Bakugo. Did you come here to lecture me? Izuku. No. I'm just giving you some advice to help you. Bakugo. Bakugo didn't expect this. It left him speechless, but still he wasn't happy about it. Izuku. I still have a long way to go with this quirk of mine. But with this, I can finally fulfill my dream. I will use this power to save the people and everyone around me, and if need be, I'll save you too. But if I'm forced to defeat you, I'll do that too. He said with a serious look. Bakugo. Listen to me, Deku. This is just the beginning. You may have won today, but this was just the beginning. Did you hear me? I'm going to become the number one. Me, not you. And you won't defeat me again. Izuku. That's what we're going to see, you idiot. He said in a whisper. After this discussion, Bakugo returns home while Izuku goes back to his room to get his things. What they didn't know is that this scene was seen by their colleagues, who saw everything that happened through a large window. Mina. What was that? Ichako. A fated battle between men. Hyoka. Huh. Toru. I wish I had heard what they were saying. Momo. Maybe what happened wasn't a bad thing. It's just a hunch. Sayu. Midoriya said he wanted to have a serious talk between the two of them. Ichako. A fated battle between men. While this was happening, we are in an unknown place. In this place there was a man looking at a feudal armor with some improvements on it. This man is the Oroku Saki, who remained with his face hidden in the shadows. He was silently and calmly watching his armor when one of his henchmen appears. This is Baxter Stockman. A man who was once human, but who eventually came into contact with the ooze and turned into some kind of fly man. Baxter? Master Shredder. Shredder. What do you want, Stockman? He asked as he turned his head a little towards to Stockman. Baxter. Shigaraki said that his weapon to kill that All Might guy is ready, and he also said that he hopes you will cooperate with the plan that will take place soon. Shredder. You're going with him to command my ninjas, Stockman. And this brat's plan better work. Go and tell him we'll help with his plan. Baxter bowed and flew off to meet this Shigaraki and the villains. Oroku Saki looked back at his armor and said one last thing. Shredder. It will be your turn soon, you filthy rat. Turtles hideout. It's another day and at this moment, Izuku was on his way to UA. But in the meantime, we're back here at the Turtles hideout. At the moment, they have just woken up and are having their breakfast. They didn't go out last night because they didn't find anything from the Foot Clan, neither on the monitors Donnie created nor on his patrols. They all have a bad feeling. Michelangelo. Ready, folks. Michelangelo's delicious layman is served. He said as he served the layman to his brothers just before sitting down and eating his own ramen. Raphael. I don't like this. Out of nowhere, the Foot Clan disappears and they are hidden. Michelangelo. Maybe they're afraid that we'll get in the way of their plans again and that the city's heroes are on the lookout. He said before eating his ramen. Donatello. It's either that or they're up to something. My fear is that they've run away to another place and we don't know. What do you think, Leo? Leonardo. No, I still feel like they're here. They're not acting because they must be up to something together with these new allies of theirs. I'm sensing that something could happen at any moment and it's not going to be a good thing. He said while staring at his layman. Leonardo. I wonder what can happen to Izuku because he is our ally in the fight against the Foot Clan. My fear is that he will become a target for our enemies. What is he doing right now? UA Gate. We are here at the UA Gate with our dear protagonist. The problem was, there was a crowd of reporters covering their way to the front of the gate. Izuku. They must have found out that All Might is working at UA as a teacher. The press scares me sometimes. When Izuku tries to walk through the gate, he is suddenly bombarded by questions from reporters. Questions like, hey kid, what's it like being around All Might? What's it like having All Might as a teacher? Izuku already knows how to get past the press, he just needs to ignore them as he fights his way through. Until a reporter lady grabbed him by the arm. Reporter. Excuse me, could you wait a moment and answer a few questions? Izuku, sorry miss. But I'm late for class, I don't have time for that. The reporter wasn't going to give in when she tried to enter the gate, but she was stopped by the gate's barriers, thus blocking her way. Izuku, seeing that he wasn't going to be bothered anymore, went back on his way to the classroom. When he got there, he sat down at his table and at that moment Izawa entered. Shota. I hope you all rested from the combat training, I took the opportunity and had a look around to evaluate your results. He then looked at Bakugo and made an unfriendly look. Shota. Bakugo, you have potential, but stop acting like a 5-year-old and grow up, if you cause that incident again, you will be expelled. Be mature and accept your defeats. Even if you have a very strong quirk, we don't keep those who try to pass over others. You're lucky that Midoriya dodged, even just barely, and survived, but if he had died, you'd be in prison right now for attempted murder. Stay warning for you, got it? Bakugo turned pale and didn't say anything. He just kept his head down and looked at the wall. Making both Izawa and Izuku sigh. Shota. Already you, Midoriya. Try not to do that again. Next time be more careful, and don't freak out. The way you fought without using your quirk was impressive, but you have to hurry up to get all the control of your power. Izuku. Why yes, sir. He said with a sad look. Izuku didn't like the way he acted in that fight. One part of him wanted to do it, the other part didn't. Shota. Alright, now that it's over, we have a special task for you to do and it's very important. Everyone in the room starts to get worried. Shota. You will have to choose a representative. The normal activity. Kirishima. Choose me, guys. I want to be the representative. Kaminari. I want it too. Kaminari had her hand raised. Hyoka. I will too. Jiru had her hand up too. Yuga. Someone with style would. He was cut by Mina. Mina. I'm totally the right choice for this. Izuku. Wow. Everyone wants to be the representative. He thought while looking at everyone who are screaming to want to be the representative. Would that be a good thing for me? Denya. Silence please. Everyone turned to Iida who was standing. Denya. A representative's duty is to lead others. This is not something that anyone can do. You must first have the trust of everyone in the classroom. Therefore, the most logical thing is to position a democracy. Choose our representative," said Iida while shaking with his hand raised. "Izuku? Iida, what are you up to?" he thought while scratching his head with a confused look. "Kaminari, do you think this is a good idea?" "Sayu, we've only known each other for a few days. How are we going to know who we can trust?" Sayu said with a finger on her chin. "Hiroshima. Besides, everyone will vote for themselves." "Denya, most people will. But whoever gets the most votes is the one who is best suited for this job. It's the best way, right sir?" Iida asked Aizawa, who was in his sleeping bag. "Shota, do what you want. Just decide it in silence before my nap is over." Aizawa was tired. It didn't take long for him to fall to the floor and fall asleep. "Denya, thank you for your trust." While some were already choosing who to vote for, Momo was still thinking about voting for someone. Until she looked at Izuku and remembered what he had done in the combat training, both for her and for their victory. She blushed a little at the memory of what he'd done for her, but she's already made up her mind who to vote for. Election results. Izuku Midoriya. 4. Momo Yaoi Rozu. 2. Izuku. Wait, how did I get 4 votes? Izuku didn't expect to receive 4 votes. Much less win. Akugu. Who voted for Deku? Zero. Did you really think we were going to vote you? While Bakugu was yelling at Zero, Achako was whistling as if nothing had happened. Already Iida was sitting in his chair in shock, he couldn't believe he had 0 votes. Denya. I give up. 0 votes. I feared this would happen. But I can't contest the system I suggested. Iida said to himself while the others looked at him. Momo. So you voted for someone else. Sato. Did you know it was better to vote for yourself? What were you thinking, Iida? After the results were shown, Izuku and Momo were standing next to each other at the front of the class. Shota. Alright, our representative. Izuku just sighed and said. Izuku. I'll do my best. Momo. You can count on my help, representative. Momo was somehow happy to be partnered with Izuku once again. Of course, she wanted to be a representative, but the position she received was already a good size. After that, it was time for lunch. Izuku was sitting at a table with Achako and Iida as they ate their lunch. Achako. Wow, that's delicious rice. She said while eating. Izuku. I can't believe I got 4 votes. I don't know if I'm qualified for this. Achako. Of course it is, that's why I voted for you. Izuku. I kind of suspected it was you, Uraraka. Achako. Really? How did you know? Izuku. You were whistling, so I assumed you were one of the people who voted for me. He said while earning a shy laugh from Achako. Momo. I voted for you too, Midoriya. The 3 turned their heads to the side of the table and saw Momo with her plate of food. Momo. Can I join you? Izuku. Oh of course. Izuku made room for Momo to sit next to him. Denya. So you also voted for Midoriya? Momo. Yeah, after what he did yesterday in the combat training, I feel like he's the right person to represent 1A. Denya. I see, it's almost the same reason I voted for him. Izuku. Wait a minute, did you vote for me too, Iida? Denya. Your courage and quick thinking in critical moments will make you a leader worth to following. Of all of us, you are probably have the most heroic in spirit. Not to mention the skills you demonstrated yesterday. That's the reason why I chose you. He said before taking another spoonful of his spoon. Achako. But Iida, didn't you want to be the class representative? Like, you have glasses and everything else. Izuku. Uraraka says things without thinking. He thought with a comical bead of sweat coming out of his head. Denya. Wanting and being suitable for it are different issues. I just did what I thought was right. Momo. But what about you, Midoriya? Didn't you vote for yourself? Izuku. No, I voted for you because I thought you were the right person for this position. Now I wonder who the other person was who voted for me. Momo got a hint of blush on her cheeks from what Izuku said about her. The girl was happy about that. As Izuku thought about who else voted for him, Achako decided to change the subject. Achako. Hey Iida, I wanted to ask you something. You're rich, aren't you? Denya. Ah. I was afraid someone would ask this soon. So yeah. I was just worried about how people would treat me if they knew about my family. Having said that, Izuku, Achako and Momo approached Iida to find out about his family. Denya. My family has heroes for generations, and I am the youngest son of the Iida family. Do you know the hero Ingenium? Izuku. Of course I do. He's the hero of speed and very respectable, besides having 65 sidekicks and… Wait a minute, don't tell me that. Denya. That's right, he is my older brother. Said in a proud tone. He is a hero who honors the rules and leads people. My goal is to be a hero because I want to be like my brother. However, I think it's still too early to lead others. Unlike me, Midoriya realized the meaning of the practical test in the entrance exam, so he's the best fit for the job. Ichako. This is the first time I've seen you smile, Iida. Denya. What? Really? But I smiled. Izuku. Now I understand. Ingenium is to Iida what All Might and the turtles are to me. Izuku. Iida, I'm sure you'll manage to be a hero like your brother. Denya, thank you Midoriya. Izuku. And about the practical test, I don't. Before Izuku could finish speaking, an alarm bell went off, drawing the attention of all the students in the cafeteria. Warning. Level 3 security breach. All students, evacuate the building in an organized manner. The female voice spoke through the speakers, and students started to run. Denya. What's a level 3 security breach? Iida asked a student who was by his desk. Student. That means someone managed to get through the school gate. This has never happened in my 3 years here. Run. The student said while running. What happened next was pure chaos, as everyone tried to evacuate at the same time, hastily, in complete disarray. Everyone was crammed in and there was almost no room to breathe. It was a very uncomfortable situation. During this time, Izuku and his friends were being pushed and Izuku ended up at the window. Izuku. Ouch, my holy turtle. He said when he hit his face in the window. Denya. As expected of the best. Everyone reacts quickly to a crisis. He screamed while being crushed. Izuku. So quickly that they. Izuku stopped talking as he looked out the window. Izuku. Is the press here? Were they the ones who caused all this chaos? Outside, the press was at the school door with Aizawa and Present Mick blocking their way. Reporter. All we want is All Might. He's here somewhere. Present Mick. You guys better get off the school grounds. I'm warning you. Hammerman. Just give us a comment and let's go. Shota. I know how you guys work. If you get one comment, you'll want another one. That's who you are. Present Mick. They're trespassing on the property, so that makes them villains. Why don't we beat them up? Present Mick wanted to use his quirk in the press. Shota. Don't even think about it. Unless you want your name dirty in the mud. Let's wait for the cops. Seeing that all this chaos was happening due to the press wanting an interview with All Might, Izuku shakes his head. Izuku. I have to do something to calm everyone down. Think, Izuku, think. What would All Might do? Or rather, what would the turtles do? They would work as a team. That's right. I can do this to defuse the situation. Izuku. You're Raka. Ichako turned to Izuku. Make me float. Izuku extended his hand to Ichako who also did the same. She struggled but managed to touch the greenish's fingers, causing her quirk to activate. Izuku. Iida, push me to the door. Denya. Leave it to me. No sooner said than done. Iida grabbed Izuku's leg and threw him towards the door. Once he gets to the door, he gets to his feet and yells. Izuku. Alright, everyone calm down. There's nothing to worry about, it's just the press. Even screaming, no one was paying attention to him. But when Izuku saw Ichako and Momo being pushed across the floor and also some of his classmates, he got annoyed. So he left his nice mode off and turned on his Raphael mode. To get everyone's attention, Izuku simply slammed his arm into the wall. And it worked, as everyone stopped and saw Izuku with an angry face. Izuku. Can you all calm down at once? It's just the press out there making this chaos. The teachers already have everything under control, so there's nothing to fear. Heck, we're at UA, guys. Stop yelling out loud like that. We're here to be heroes, so start acting like one and have some common sense, for God's sake. Izuku. Man, spending a lot of time with Raphael must be really getting to me. All the students quieted down and sighed in relief. They heard police sirens, which meant the press would be leaving at any moment. Izuku starts to descend and walks towards his friends, and upon reaching them, he sees that Iida, Ichako and Momo were happy for what he did to control the situation. Izuku. Are you guys okay? Did any of you get hurt? He asked worriedly while looking at Ichako and Momo. Ichako. No, I'm fine. What you did just now was incredible, Takeru. Momo. Normally, I don't condone yelling, but at a time like this I must say you did a great job. She said with a smile. Denya. Apparently I made the right choice in voting for you as a representative, Midoriya. Meanwhile outside. The police arrived and ordered them to leave unless they wanted to be arrested. Izuku looked at this whole scene and started to think. Izuku. Could being a leader be a good thing for me? Would I be a good leader like Leonardo? Could this be good practice to become a #1 hero? Meanwhile outside. 4 figures could be seen standing at the front entrance. These figures are the principal Nezu, Midnight, Recovery and the Heroine 13. Nezu. How could ordinary members of the press be able to do something like that? Someone instigated this. Did some villain enter or was this a declaration of war? The reason the principal said this was because the metal gate that stood in front of the entrance was completely reduced to dust, remaining only a few pieces. Meanwhile in the other part of town. Villain. Listen up, heroes, don't come after me. If you do, I'll kill this rich family here. Claimed a giant pink villain while holding 3 civilians hostage. The heroes he was referring to were MT. Lady Kamui Woods and another hero who were on the ground panting as they were out of breath fighting that villain. All Might. It's okay now, family. Missouri smash. All Might came down from the sky with a yellow suit and gave the villain a karate cut on the back of the neck, causing him to be knocked out, thus letting All Might save those civilians. All Might. Why? Because I'm here on my way to work. All Might leaves the hostages on the ground until he hears a civilian scream. All Might. It's going to be bad if I'm late, but… All Might jumped into the air to go in the direction the voice came from. All Might. Am I getting slower? After I gave one for all to young Midoriya, my powers were weakening. Also, after forcing myself that time, the time I can spend in this form is shorter than before. All Might arrives at the crime scene and stops a car from moving forward by braking its engine. All Might. Young Midoriya. I hope you think carefully about what it means to have this power. If word got out, the world would be full of people wanting to steal your power. This secret must be kept both to avoid chaos in society and for your own good. Even though he's someone more than adequate, he's just a 15-year-old boy. He still has a lot to learn to become the greatest hero. Civilian. They've barricaded the neighboring town. As soon as he heard this, All Might fired once more to resolve the issue. But Class 1A. Hours. 12:05. Shota. Today's basic hero training class will have 3 teachers. Me, All Might and one more person. Izawa's revelation made the class wonder who the 3rd teacher would be. Izuku? Is it a special case? Zero. What kind of training is this? Zero asked with a raised hand. Izawa took out a card with the word rescue on it. Shota. Rescue. You'll be dealing with natural disasters, shipwrecks and stuff like that. Kaminari. Disasters. Looks like we're getting ready for a big workout, huh? Kaminari said while the other students were excited. Mina. Absolutely. Hiroshima. This is the stuff of a true hero. I even tremble with excitement. Sigh. Anyway, I can show you how useful I am in the water Kiro. Shota. I'm not done yet. You can decide if you want to wear your costumes or not this time. He said while pressing a button on a remote control that made the suitcases with the students' hero costumes appear on the walls. Shota. But keep in mind that you haven't gotten used to them yet. And they might limit your abilities. This training is going to be at an off-campus facility. So, we're going to take a bus to get there. That's all. Everyone get ready. With that, the students rose from their chairs and began to prepare for rescue training. Izuku. Rescue training. I've always admired this training. He thought when he remembered All Might's debut video. Remembering that video, Izuku clenched his right fist. Izuku. I'm getting closer and closer to being the greatest hero. I'll do my best. Later outside. The class was outside waiting for the bus while Izuku puts on his green belt at his face. He was also in his gym suit as his suit was damaged thanks to Bakugo. The turtles knew and weren't happy with what Izuku said. Donatello made a point of finding a way to fix and improve his suit in case it got ready. Izuku. Thanks a lot Donnie. This will look great on my costume. Izuku was texting Donatello from his cell phone. Donnie showed Izuku what improvements he'd added to his costume in case it was ready, and the greenish one was happy with what he saw. Donatello, you're welcome Izuku. Good luck with your training at USJ. After reading this, Izuku puts his cell phone in his pocket. Ichako sees Izuku without his costume and is curious. Ichako. Are you going with the gym suit? Where's your attire, Dakiru? Izuku. After what happened in the combat training, it got damaged. So I'm waiting for they to fix it. Ichako. They who? Izuku. Well. Shota. Midoriya, the bus has arrived. Tell everyone to get on. Izuku. Thank you, Teacher Izawa. Izuku sighed in relief before reaching over to the bus and pulling out a whistle. It rose high and caught everyone's attention. Izuku. Okay guys, let's all get on the bus. Denya. Midoriya, don't you think we should line up the student number so that the bus boarding is more organized? He said while moving his arms robotically. Izuku. Iida, do you know what kind of bus this is? Denya. No. Why? Inside the bus. Denya. I didn't think it would be this kind of bus. Forgive me, Midoriya. Iida had her head down as the bus was more like public transport where there was plenty of room to walk. Izuku. Don't worry about it, Iida. Mina. Yeah, there was no point. Sayu. I say whatever comes to mind. Midoriya-chan. Izuku. Huh. Yes Asui. Sayu. Call me Tsu. Izuku. Oh. Sorry. Sayu. I'm curious about two things about you. It's about of your fighting style and your quirk. Mina. Really, how did you learn to fight like that? He asked as he got closer to the conversation. Izuku. Well. I learned to fight a while ago from some people who taught me. Sato. Who are these people? Izuku. TT there. Very special people to me. I consider them my bros. Unfortunately, they had to move to another city in another country. For obvious reasons, Izuku had to lie. Ajiro. Gee, that's too bad. I was curious to know who taught you to fight without depending on your quirk. Sayu. Speaking of your quirk, Midoriya, it looks like All Might. Izuku. How is it what is it? Do you think that? Hiroshima. Hold on, Tsu. Although I agree that Midoriya is strong, All Might never gets hurt when using his power. Kirishima's comment made Izuku sigh. Kirishima. But it must be cool to have a really cool quirk like that. With that power you can do a lot of things. My hardening is strong, but it doesn't seem like much. He said while activating his power. Izuku. Don't say that. Your quirk is amazing. With that power, you'd be a pretty easy pro hero. Kirishima. A pro hero. But a hero also has to think about his popularity, doesn't he? Yuga. So my laser is a perfect combination of brilliance and power. He said confidently. Mina. But it's not great when it gives you a tummy ache. Mina's comment made Aoyama's face a little annoyed. Kirishima. If we're going to talk about being flashy and strong, we also have to talk about Todoroki and Bakugo. Sayu. Bakugo is always angry and has shown to have violent behavior, so he will never be popular. Sayu's comment made Bakugo pissed off and Izuku put his hand over his mouth to contain his laughter. Bakugo. What did you say? Do you want to fight? Sayu. See? She said while pointing to Bakugo to prove her point, making the Pomerian boy very angrier and Izuku having trouble holding back laughter. Haminari. You know what's funny? It's been a while since we met, so it's amazing that we all already know that your personality sucks. He said while chuckling. Bakugo. Want me to show you what sucks? Izuku. Don't laugh, Izuku. Don't laugh, Izuku. But man, this is so much fun. Izuku was still holding back not to laugh. He knows that if he laughs, a fight can start between him and Bakugo. Momo. What a vulgar conversation. She said while covering her mouth with her hand. Ichako. But I like things like that. Said happily. Shota. We're here. Stop it. When the students got off the bus, they were greeted by someone. 13. I've been waiting for you. The students were surprised to see who was in front of them. Her costume consists of a white spacesuit design, using what appears to be a puffy jacket instead of an actual suit, a black helmet with wide eyes, and a pair of yellow boots. She is 13. Izuku. It's Space Hero. 13. The hero who saved people in many disasters. Said Izuku with enthusiasm as he entered. Ichako. 13 is my favorite heroine. Ichako was also excited. 13. I can't wait to show you what's inside. They entered the building and were surprised at its size. There were buildings, mountains, waterfalls and too many domes on it. Hiroshima. Wow. It looks like a theme park here. 13. Shipwrecks, landslides, fire, windstorm and etc. I created this facility to train in different disasters. I call it Unforeseen Simulation Joint. But you can call it USJ. Izawa was walking towards 13, realizing that someone was not there. Shota. Hey, shouldn't All Might be here? 13. He used all of his power on the way to school today. You know, doing a lot of heroic work. He's resting in the staff room right now. Shota. I swear one of these days. It's okay, so let's start without him. 13. Sure. Before we start, let me say one thing. Or two. Or three. Or 4. 5. 6. The number only increases. 13. Guys, you must already know my quirk, the black hole. With this power, I can suck up anything and turn it to dust. Izuku. You were able to use your quirk to save people from all sorts of disasters, weren't you? 13. Yeah, but it's a power that can kill easily. Some of you have quirks like that, right? The students were silent. 13. In a superhuman society, quirks have been certified and strictly regulated, so it doesn't seem like a problem at first glance. However, don't forget that many quirks can easily kill with one wrong move. Aizawa discovered your hidden possibilities, and with All Might's combat training, you felt the danger of using your powers against other people. Today's class is a new beginning. You will learn to use your quirks to save people. You don't have the power to harm others. I hope you leave here with the understanding that you have the power to help others. That's all. Thank you. 13 ended his speech with reference. Shota. Alright then, first. Before Izawa has finished speaking, the building's lights start to flicker until everyone notices something in the distance. Izawa turns around and sees a purple portal open. Shota. 13, protect the students. Said while he was getting ready. Kirishima looked to the lower level and sees the portal. Kirishima. Hey, what is this? People come out of the portal and Kirishima gets more curious. Is this part of the training? I thought we were rescuing people. Izuku took a small step to see what was happening. Shota. Stay back there. Izuku noticed that Izawa put on his glasses. This is real. They are real villains. What Izawa said shocked the students. 3 men came out of the portal. One with hands on him, one with black skin and a rather frightening looking one, and the other a half-fly man. But what scared Izuku was that the Foot Clan ninjas were coming out of the portal along with these villains. Izuku. No. This is bad. At the portal, a voice comes out of him. The only heroes I'm seeing here are 13 and Eraserhead. I'm baffled. According to the schedule we got from UA, All Might should be here too. The voice said as the portal gained eyes. This is Kurogiri, a villain whose entire body is made of a dark purple mist, except for his eyes, which are bright yellow. Shota. So these scoundrels used a press as a cover to sneak into the school. The villains were heading towards the stairs that the group of heroes was up, while the ninjas stayed behind. The One students were surprised by what they heard. It was the villains all along that caused the panic that many were in. Shigaraki. Where is he? I went to so much trouble to bring so many friends of mine and some of my boss's friend. Wow, they were looking forward to meeting him. They want All Might. The great symbol of peace. I can't believe he's not here. Maybe if we kill some of these kids, he'll come here to play with us. Izawa's scarf rose with his hair, he was getting ready to fight. Izuku. What are the Foot Clan ninjas doing here? Wait. You mean that they were planning all this all that time? So these guys. Are they the League of Villains? Izuku was scared and even worried about everyone's safety. Kirishima. Villains. But that's impossible. There's no way they can get into the school. Okoyami. I believe this attack was carefully planned by someone with some sort of goal in mind. Momo. 13, what about the intrusion sensors? Momo's question made everyone look around to see that no alarms went off. 13. We do, but. 13 stopped talking because she was also questioning why the alarms weren't going off. Shoto. Is the entire school under attack? Or is this place their only target? Anyway, if the alarm sensors aren't being triggered, then one of these villains must have a quirk that's blocking their presence here. They carefully chose this secluded facility as an entry point at the time the class was being taught. It would be silly to break in here, but they thought of it. Whatever the plan, they must have a goal in mind. But what is it? The class shuddered at the idea that the villains had a goal in mind. Shota. 13. Get them out of here and alert the school. Said before realizing something. If they have the ability to block our sensors, then they can block our communications too. Kaminari, try to use your quirk to have contact with the school. Kaminari. Yes, sir. Kaminari went over to his headset while Izuku tried to use his cell phone to call the turtles, but it wasn't working. He didn't know if this could be a good or bad thing. The good thing would be that turtles wouldn't be exposed to everyone, but the bad thing is that Izuku is the only one in that place who knows very well about those ninjas. Izuku. Teacher Izawa, are you going to fight them alone? You can't fight them alone, even if you nullify their quirks. Also, there are those people in ninja clothes. There. Shota. Only criminals in weird ninja outfits. I've seen the news about them. I can beat them. Izuku was worried about his teacher's situation. He knows Eraserhead's fighting style very well, and fighting multiple villains at the same time wasn't one of them, especially when they have ninjas as allies. Izuku. Mr. Izawa, the problem is, they can't even use their quirks to attack you. They can attack you using only their weapons. Izuku took a step forward. Mr. Izawa, let me fight by your side. Working together, we can both. Shota, no Midoriya. It's too dangerous and you're just a student in training. Izuku. But. Izuku stopped talking because he knows he was at risk of telling the whole truth. He didn't want to expose himself, much less reveal about the Foot Clan and the turtles. Shota. I understand your concern. But you can't be a professional if you only have one ace up your sleeve. He said while Izuku watched the hero getting ready. Shota. I'm counting on you, 13. The heroine nodded her head. The professional hero descends the stairs while the 3 villains await him. Izawa advances towards them while one of them had gun barrels in his fingers. He was about to shoot when Izawa his quirk and no bullets came out, nullifying his and the other villain's power. Izawa used his capture weapon, wrapped up the villains, threw them into the air, only to knock them down and crash into each other. After demonstrating his power and skill, the villains recognized him. Idiots, he's the Eraserhead. He can nullify your quirk with his gaze. I want to see him nullify heteromorphic villains like us. The four-armed villain jumped up and attacked the hero, who dodged his attacks. Shota. No, I can't. After dodging, Eraser punched the villain who attacked him in the face. Shota. Only skills of guys like you. Aizawa wrapped his scarf around that villain's legs while dodging another villain's punch and countering him with a kick. Shota. Are statically more likely to manifest in melee combat. Aizawa threw that villain who wrapped him with his scarf to a crowd of villains, causing them to fall flat on the ground. Shota. So I took action against it. Baxter. Tell me, Shigaraki. Who is this guy? Shigaraki. That's Eraserhead. He's a hero who can nullify a person's quirk with his gaze. His eyes are hidden behind those glasses, so you can't know whose quirk he's nullifying. Making it difficult for us to work together or trust each other's powers. I hate these professional heroes. He said while scratching his neck. Shigaraki. You know the worst thing about dealing with professionals, Stockboy. The worst thing is that most people don't stand a chance against them. Baxter. I already told you I'm Stockman. Stockman. Baxter was annoyed with Shigaraki getting his last name wrong, and the villain didn't even care about it. Back on the stairs, Izuku sees his teacher fighting the villains and is impressed. But he was afraid of what would happen if the ninjas attacked him. Izuku. Even if you have experience with these villains, I don't think you'll be able to handle them all. Let alone the Foot Clan. Denya. Midoriya. It's not time to analyze the situation, we have to move fast. Izuku comes out of his trance and follows him, but his mind keeps on thinking about how to help Eraserhead. He wants to do something to help his teacher, but he knows there can be consequences to do so. As they run to the door, something purple pops out of their floor as the yellow-eyed villain appears and blocks the exit. Kurogiri. There is no escape for you. Aizawa sees the villain in the students. Shota. Damn it. I blinked and the guy who seemed to be the most troublesome ran away. Aizawa thought before kicking a villain in the face. Kurogiri. It's a pleasure to meet you all. We are the League of Villains. I know it's impolite, but we decided to invite ourselves to this haven of justice to say hello. Said the villain while 13 stood in front of the students. And besides, this is not a suitable place for All Might, the symbol of peace, to take his last breath. Don't you agree? Izuku was a little startled by what he heard. Izuku? That's what I feared. So they are the League of Villains. So they're the ones working with the Shredder. Kurogiri. I believe he should be here today, but I don't see any sign of him. There must have been some kind of change in plan that we couldn't have foreseen. It doesn't matter. I still have a role to play. The villain said while moving. 13 opened his finger and was about to use his quirk when Bakugo and Kirishima jumped at the villain and attacked him. Kirishima. Did you think we would stand still? The class covered their faces because of the smoke, mostly because of Bakugo's quirk after the attack. They waited for the smoke to clear to see that the villain was still on his feet and that he was totally fine with the attack. Kurogiri. What a danger. What a danger. You must love your school's reputation. But you should be more careful, children. Otherwise, someone might get hurt. 13. You two, get out of the way now. Kurogiri. I will scatter you around this facility. For you to find my comrades and their death. The villain shouted as he threw a purple mist on the students, forcing a great gust of wind towards them. Kirishima. Shit, what is this? Asked Kirishima while he and Bakugo protected their faces with their arms. Iida swung into action while running and took out Uraraka and Sato in the fog. Shoji grabbed Shiro and Mina and protected them with his body. The unfortunate ones were sucked into the mist as it formed a dome. Iida looks back and sees the dome in shock. Denya. What's going on? Izuku shot out of a portal and began to fall into the water. He screams until the screams are silenced when he hits the water. Izuku. Water. This guy must have a power to teleport people. Of course I'm still at USJ. Izuku thought as he swam to the surface. He said they came here to kill All Might when he's not here. But where is he? And that guy? That guy with his hands on himself. Was he the one who destroyed the school gate before? Why did they do this? I feel like there's more to it than we know. Izuku was swimming to the surface when suddenly, a person with a shark appearance started swimming towards him at a fast pace. Izuku wanted to do something, but he had nothing to do underwater. He was preparing for what was to come when Tsuyu, holding Mineta over his right arm, appeared and kicked the villain in the mouth. Tsuyu. Hey, Midoriya-chan. Said Tsuyu as she threw her tongue out and curled up on Izuku. In doing so, Tsuyu swims at high speed with the boys and escapes the villain. Shipwreck zone. They arrive at a boat in the middle of the water as Tsuyu rises to the surface. She lifts Izuku up and puts him on the boat to safety. Mineta. You know, for a frog, you kind of have big tits. he said while leaning his head on Sayu's chest, making her blush with embarrassment. When it was time to put Mineta on the boat, she put him down hard, making him jump with a great impact of pain. Seeing that the two were already safe, she climbed the boat using her hands and feet. Izuku, you saved my life. Thank you, Asui. Sayu. I told you to call me Tsu. She corrected Izuku. Sayu Asui. Quirk. Frog. She can basically do everything a frog can do. Izuku. Yes. Sorry. Thank you, Tsu. Sayu. It was nothing. Kiro. She said with a smile. Mineta. Ouch. Thank you also for saving my life, Sayu. Sayu. You're welcome, but if you touch my breasts again, I'll throw you in the water and drown you with my bare hands. Sayu's words made Mineta get scared and Izuku's eyebrow raised. Izuku. Look, leaving that aside for now, let's focus on the current situation. Sayu. You're right. The situation has gotten pretty bad. Izuku. I agree. But what that villain said. They knew all of our programming and who would be here. They must have taken the school files while we were in the cafeteria. The teachers were already busy with the press. That means that they were waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Just like Todoroki said. Mineta. Hey, wait a minute there. It's not like these guys can actually kill All Might. As soon as he shows up, he's going to beat up all these villains until there's none left. He said while punching the air. Sayu. Mineta. Mineta. What? Sayu. Think about it. If the villains spent so much time planning this attack, then they probably figured out a way to kill him. And didn't you hear what that mist guy said? Maybe we should worry about not dying. Otherwise, we all might not get the chance to see All Might again. And even if he does, will we be able to stay alive? Every word Sayu said made Mineta cry in panic. Mineta. No, the pro heroes are going to save us, aren't they? Midoriya, tell her to stop it. Mineta said to Izuku, but he was silent because of Sayu's words and his fear of the presence of ninjas. Izuku and Sayu noticed something coming from the water at high speed. All three saw the villains coming at them. Villain. Miserable. I'd love to kill you. Mineta. The villains are here. Izuku. Asui is right. If they're here for All Might, they must have a way to defeat him. They wouldn't have planned this attack if they hadn't. But, why only All Might? Is it because their very existence discriminates against villains and the evil? Why did he become the symbol of peace? It does not matter. Izuku thought as the words that All Might said to Izuku came to his head. Izuku. I don't care what your motives are. I have to concentrate. I have to face this evil head on. Both these villains and the Foot Clan. Sayu and Mineta were looking at the villains from under the water and they felt fear rising in them. Izuku. If these guys can beat him. They turned to Izuku and saw his hair cover his eyes. Then we have to stop whatever these guys are planning. We have to work together to keep All Might safe. No one at UA knows what's going on. So it depends of us. Let's be heroes and take care of them. Izuku said with a tone of determination as the two looked at him. Slip zone. In a different location, the ice was spreading across the floor, hitting several villains until their bodies were frozen. Todoroki was standing in front of the villains when the ice came from the bicolor boy. Shoto. You're not ashamed that you lost to a student. For God's sake, you're adults. Collapse zone. In another different location, Bakugo blasted a villain's face. He and Kirishima are fighting a bunch of bandits. Different zones. In more different zones, students were getting ready to fight the villains that surrounded him. At the entrance to the building, 13 was about to go into battle, while the remaining boys were supporting and protecting the girls. Aizawa continued fighting as the Shigaraki, Baxter, and the giant creature watched before Shigaraki started walking to get a better look. Everyone had a fight on their hands. Turtles hideout. Back at the Turtles' hideout in Musatafu, Michelangelo was playing with his ice cream kitten that was in the freezer. I like the ice cream kitten. Raphael was beating his punching bag, and Donatello had a straight face as he looked at your computer screen. Leonardo, on the other hand, was meditating with Splinter. But the rat was not able to meditate properly. Something was bothering him, it was as if they were warning him that something bad was happening. Leonardo. Dad, are you also feeling that something bad is happening right now? Splinter. I'm not sure about that, Leonardo. It's like something or someone is warning me that we need to do something now. Leonardo. Do you think it's the Foot Clan that is acting? Splinter. Maybe it's them or maybe it's Izuku who's in trouble. Leonardo. Are you worried about him too, father? Splinter. Yeah, I'm worried. Maybe that's nothing. After all, he's in class right now. Leonardo was sensing that something was wrong and felt that Izuku might be in trouble. He feared that this feeling was something serious, but a part of him wanted to believe it was nothing. But before he can go back to meditating, Donatello appears to get their attention. Donatello. Master, Leo. The two turned to Donnie. Looks like Izuku is in trouble. 1 minute later, Donnie gathered all his brothers and his father in front of the computer. He wanted to show something. Donatello. Listen, I was making improvements to Izuku's costume and I thought I'd give him an important warning. But I also got a strange feeling that something wasn't right. Raphael. Okay, we felt it too, but so what? Donatello. So I tried to communicate with Izuku. The problem is, I couldn't get through to him. I thought he turned off his cell phone or something, but I also put a tracker on his device in case he needs it of us. But the problem is that it's having a lot of interference with the tracker's signal. Michelangelo. Oh, maybe the place where he is just like that. Donatello. No, Mikey. The problem is that this interference is the same interference as when I was trying to locate that truck we took, he said as he turned to his brothers. Leonardo. Hold on, Donnie. Are you trying to tell us that? Donatello. That this interference is in the same place where Izuku told me before that he is. So maybe he's in trouble. The fear of Splinter and the brothers was right. Izuku is in trouble, not only him but his school class as well. They were thoughtful and didn't know whether or not to go to Izuku's rescue. Of course they want to go, the problem is that the secret of their existence can be exposed to all of them. Raphael. If the Foot Clan is in there, then we should go to face them and help Izuku. Right. Donatello. But that means we're going to expose ourselves to whoever is in there. Michelangelo. What do we do now, Leo? He asked with a worried face while he and his brothers looking at Leo. Leonardo was thoughtful until he looked at those tonfas that Izuku was using to train with Donnie. Leo took a deep breath before getting a serious look. But before he can say anything to his brothers, Splinter decides to give the floor. Splinter. So the time for hiding is over. The turtles looked in shock at what their father said. Splinter. Let's go to Izuku and help him. Raphael. But Master, do you think it's a good idea? Splinter. I don't know, my son. But I refuse to stand by and do nothing while I know my friend's son is in danger and that I'm not doing anything to help. He said with his eyes closed before opening them. I hid you for all these years because I was afraid of what people would do too with you. I was afraid that people would not accept you and that they didn't understand. But now, all of you are already mature enough to take care of yourselves. And I'm so proud of the sons I've raised. He said as he looked and smiled at his sons. The four brothers smiled as they looked at each other. Splinter. Now. Let's go to Izuku and stop the Foot Clan. Michelangelo. I don't know about you guys, but I consider Izuku to be one of us now. Raphael. They messed with him, they messed with us too. He said while clapping his hand on his wrist. Donatello. Let's put it down. Leonardo. Guys. Leonardo turned to his brothers, who stared at him with determined eyes, waiting for their leader's word. Let's go after to our little brother and end the Foot Clan. Get your equipment and let's go. Raphael picked up his sei, twirled them around and placed them on his waist. Michelangelo took his nunchakus, spun them around and made them look like a kusarigama. Donatello grabbed his staff, his trinkets and gear for what was to come. Leonardo took his two katanas and placed them on his back, but before leaving, he took the two tonfas and took them with him. Splinter simply picked up his stick and walked over to his sons before looking a bit at the picture he has with Hisashi. Donatello. Okay, guys. Listen, Izuku said he was going to train at a place called USJ. If we go there at full speed with our van, we can get there few minutes. Leonardo. So let's go fast and we don't have to stop for anything. Reunited, the heroes go to the part where their garage would be in the hideout and enter the van. Seeing that everyone was ready, Donatello starts the vehicle and accelerates it. Their destination is USJ. Back to USJ. The eyes and ears were looking all around as they were attached to Shoji, indicating that he was using his quirk. Denya. Shoji. Did you find them? Where are they? Shoji. They're scattered all over USJ, but everyone's here. Everyone felt relieved. They look at the mist that was still blocking them. Zero. What are we going to do? The guy isn't affected by physical attacks, and he can teleport things. 13. Guys, who's the fastest in this group? Shoji. We have Iida here, he's really fast. 13. It's okay, Iida. I need a favor. Run to the school and let everyone know what's going on. 13 said, making Iida hesitate. The alarms aren't going off, and our phones and radios aren't working, so one of these villains must be to blame for that. Even if Eraserhead is nullifying the villain's quirks around him, he soon you'll run out of fuel and we'll be lost. You'd better run to the school and come back with backup while we wait. Denya. Yes, but it would be a shame for me to leave you all here. Sato. Go, man. If you make it out, the alarms outside might go off. Said Sato as he walked forward and assumed a fighting position. That's why they're keeping us here, right? Zero. Blow out that stupid fog with your speed and engine. 13. Use your quirk to save others. Be a true hero. What would your class rep do if he were here? Iida was speechless as Shoji and the rest of the boys stepped forward. Ichako. I can help you. I'll make you float like I did with Takira in the cafeteria, said Ichako with Mina waving to him. Iida got serious as he got into running position until he finally ran. Kurogiri. Even if this is your only option, you are foolish to say your plan out loud. The mist villain screamed while attacking, but 13 reacted. 13. We talk because it doesn't matter if you heard, said 13 as he used his quirk and started to suck the villain in his fingers. Back to Izuku. Mineta. You want to fight? Are you crazy? Mineta started screaming when hearing Izuku's plan. Mineta. These guys might be able to kill All Might and you think we can get them? Did you hit your head when we got here? The best way to survive this is to wait for a professional to come here and save us. Mineta screamed in panic as he danced in a state of panic with tears falling from his eyes. Izuku and Sai looked at the water below, completely ignoring Mineta. Izuku. Those villains down there clearly have an advantage out there in the water and will assume that's what we're going to fight. Izuku was analyzing the situation. Mineta. Are you by any chance ignoring me? Sai. If that's the case, they should have known what was inside the USJ before they went in. Izuku. Yes, but for a group with such careful planning. There's something I noticed and it's not hitting. They sent you Asu. Izuku broke off when Sai looked at him. He noticed he would call her by her family name. Izuku. I mean, Su. Sorry. Izuku corrected himself. Sai. Kiro. Mineta. What does that have to do with? Izuku. Mineta, they sent Su here, who has a clear advantage in the water. The truth is, I don't think they know what our quirks are. Sai. You're right. Kiro. If they knew I was a frog, they would have sent me to the fire zone instead of here, where there's water, said Sai while looking at the dome with flames drawn. Izuku. They probably sent us to different zones as they don't know our powers and plan to overwhelm us in numbers as they think we're easy targets, even more so because of our age. We can use that to our advantage here. They don't know about our powers, he said as the villain stared at them. Izuku. Look. None of them are trying to get on the boat. It proves they're a little insecure. But that means they won't underestimate us either. They're being smart and playing it safe. That's it for now. Izuku turned to the two and said. Izuku. I can come up with a plan to defeat them, but I need you to tell me more about your quirks. Sai. Then, I'll go first if you want, she said as the three sat down and looked at each other. Sai. My quirk makes me jump really high, obviously. It makes me grab walls. And I can stick my tongue out like any frog does, but my limit is 20 meters. I can also spit out my stomach so I can clean it. But it's useless. And I secrete toxic mucus, and it just gives a stinging sensation. Sai finished her explanation about her quirk as Mineta blushed at the mention of, you know. Sai. We can probably use my tongue and jump, so forget about the last things. Izuku. I knew you were strong. Well, my quirk involves super strength. I can access it, but I have little control over it. If I go over the limit of how much power I can handle, my body limbs can become to break. Mineta pulled a ball out of her hair and a new one quickly came in its place. Mineta. I have these sticky balls that grow in my head. Mineta put that ball on the wall next to the mushrooms and it stuck there. Their strength varies. Depending on how I'm feeling. They can cling to something all day. They come back and grow as fast as I pull them. But my head will bleed if I pull too many. Oh, and they don't stick to me. When Mineta finished his explanation, the two stared at him until the boy started to cry. Mineta. Don't look at me like that. That's why I said we should wait for the heroes. My quirk is not for battle. Izuku. Hey, that's not true, Mineta. Using the right strategy, your quirk can be a big problem for the enemy. Suddenly, a hand made of water appeared and cut the ship in half. The youths clung to something as the ship rocked and sank. Sai. It's a great power. The ship even broke. Sai said the obvious while Mineta ran to the side and started throwing his balls at the villains. Izuku. Mineta. Don't freak out. If you keep doing that, they'll discover your power. Izuku stopped when he saw that the villains were moving away from the floating ball. Izuku. They're afraid to touch them. Izuku thought when an idea came to his mind. Mineta. That's it. We're dead. Mineta was freaking out. Sai looked at him and had a question in mind. Sai. Mineta, are you sure that hero school is the right thing for you? Mineta. Shut up. Is it weird to be scared? We've just graduated from elementary school. I didn't think I would face death in the first few days at UA. And I can't believe I'm going to die without at least having touched Yaoi Rozu's breasts. Tired of Minetta's screaming and wanting to find a solution to calm the situation a little, Izuku approached Mineta and slapped him in the face. That's right, a slap. Mineta and Sai were shocked by the Greenish's attitude, even with the frog girl thinking that Mineta deserved it. Izuku. Listen here, Mineta. Nobody's going to die here. Do you understand? If we want to get out of here alive, we should calm down and work together. We're here to be heroes, Mineta. So stop crying like a baby and be a hero now. He said before moving away from him and staying on the side of the boat. Izuku. When an enemy is sure of victory, that's when he's about to make a mistake. All Might said that on TV once. Izuku's hands were shaking and Mineta saw it. And their mistake was to underestimate us. We have a chance to win. Mineta. He caught Mineta's attention while looking back a little at him. Mineta. Why yes. Izuku. I need you to throw as many balls as you can into the water, so if possible, you can stick to some of the villains. Tsu, take Mineta with you when you jump, but you guys only do that when I give a signal. As possible, Tsu, grab me with your tongue when you jump. Sai. Kiro. Sai was worried about Izuku. What if she couldn't? It didn't look like it, but she was scared. Izuku. Look. I know you're scared. But don't be. I know you two can do it. Because I believe in you too. He said with a smile while looking at them. Izuku. Tsu, do you know what to do, right? Sai nodded. Great. He said while stepping on the big ship and jumped with a scream. Izuku. Buyakasha. Villain. Idiot boy. One of the villains said confidently, thinking about Izuku's dead flesh. Izuku. Right, Izuku. You have access to one for all, but little control over it. If I use enough force that it won't break one of my limbs and I time it right, then we can finish these guys off. He thought as he placed his left middle finger on his left thumb as red lines appeared. Back on the sinking boat, Sayu had Mineta with her when the girl was about to jump. Sayu. Are you ready? Sayu asked while waiting for Izuku's signal. Mineta. How? How does he do that? He was scared. Like me. Izuku positioned himself as he was about to fall into the water. Izuku. Try this. Delaware smash. Izuku shouted as he released his fingers, causing a huge gust of wind to hit the water, causing a whirlpool and the villains being sucked inside. Izuku held his fingers and turned towards the ship as it fell. Izuku. Tsu. Mineta. Go now. Sai leapt into the air with her passengers, while Mineta stops the force of Izuku's attack. Mineta. Midoriya. How you do it? Mineta. You're scared, but you don't let your fear act. Something I haven't done. Thinking about the plan, Izuku said, Mineta takes the balls from her head and throws them at the villains. Mineta. Ahhhh. Catch this, you bastards. Screamed Mineta while throwing his balls into the whirlpool. Before Izuku could fall into the water, Sayu stuck out her tongue to him and grabbed him. Izuku. If a great force is applied to the surface of the water, it will spread out and go straight back to the center. Sayu. We got them all. Not bad. You two are amazing. Izuku. We all are, Tsu. We all are. He said while looking at his fingers, which didn't break. They had passed through the shipwreck zone. They managed to save themselves. All thanks to teamwork. And Izuku's leadership. On city streets. Everything was quiet on the city streets until we go to a van at high speed. Inside are our turtles heroes along with their father. Leonardo. It's not long before we get to this USJ. Donnie. Leo was sitting in the other seat at the front of the vehicle. Donatello. Yes, it's not long. We'll be there in a few minutes. Michelangelo. Guys, do you think it's okay for us not to wear our disguise? Raphael. Mikey, even if we take those hoodies, sooner or later, whoever is in that place will end up seeing us. As the brothers fell silent with Donatello driving, Splinter had a thought on his mind. Splinter. Hold on, Izuku. We are coming. Hold on just a little longer. The heroes are almost at their destination. Today those 4 ninja turtles are coming out of the shadows. All this to defeat your enemies. And to save a friend. After working as a team and getting rid of the villains, Sayu along with Mineta and Izuku land on the shore of the beach of the shipwreck zone. When they landed, they look back and see the villains all trapped in Mineta's balls. Izuku. Mineta, how long are they going to be trapped? Mineta. I went to the bathroom this morning, so they will be stuck all day. He said proudly. Izuku. That wasn't the information I wanted to know. He thought with a comical drop of sweat on his head. Sayu turns around when everyone stops walking in the water. Sayu. So what's our next step? Izuku. Well. Our priority now is to get help. Maybe go to the others. If we go along to the coast to the exit, we'll avoid the central square. It might not seem like a good plan, but it's the best we have. He said while pointing to the entrance. Sayu. But I'm still worried about Mr. Izawa. He's still fighting against all those villains alone. she said while the three look at the square, which was rolling the battle. Mineta. But he can take care of them, can't he? After all, he's a pro hero. Izuku. The problem is not just that. The Foot Clan ninjas are there along with those other villains. Teacher Izawa can be a pro hero and can be great at what he does, but he thought before remembering that night where he almost died at the hands of those ninjas. I have to do something. I have to help him. But I can't involve Mineta and Tsu in this trouble. They have nothing to do with that. He thought as he looked at the two of them. Izuku. Teacher Izawa may be a pro hero, but he's just one man fighting an entire army. Sooner or later, he'll get overwhelmed. Tsuyu and Mineta understood what he was trying to say. Mineta. What? Don't tell me what you want. Izuku nodded his head. Are you crazy or something like that? Izuku. Look, I'm not saying to you coming with me. You two can go to the exit while I go to the teacher Izawa and help him against the rest of those villains. Mineta. What? Tsuyu. Midoriya, do you think this is a good idea? Izuku. I don't know, I just know that I don't want to sit around knowing that the teacher is dealing with those villains alone, let alone against those ninjas. He said while walking towards where Izawa is. Go on and meet to the others. Izuku. I'll deal with the consequences later. Maybe soon. As he walked, Tsuyu stared at the greenish one. She was left admiring his heroism and determination to become a great hero. She'd already admired him after seeing his lead to make it out of the wreck zone alive, but after that, she saw him as a hero now. Tsuyu. Midoriya-chan. Slip zone. Shoto. So the plan was to scatter us and kill us. Said while exhaling the ice from his mouth. You're quite unprepared. Actually, I think you haven't had any training. You don't have the slightest idea how to use your powers. He said while walking towards one of the villains. The villains were speechless at the power that Todoroki displayed the minute they got there. He ignored them as he started to remember what one of the villains said about All Might's absence. Shoto. How do they plan to kill All Might? At first, I thought they had assembled a force of elite criminals who could simply overpower him. Two villains try to attack the bicolor boy, but he uses his right leg to spread the ice and dodge an attack from a villain who attacked him from behind using a stake and freezes him when he touches the weapon. Shoto. But they're just a bunch of thugs. Maybe that's not their master plan. But what makes me curious are those guys in ninja clothes. He made the villain who was with a stake fall to the ground at the moment the boy pulled. Shoto. From what I've seen, there are only 4 or 5 really dangerous people around here. If that's the case, what we need is more information now. Todoroki thought as he turned to the frozen villain in front of him. Shoto. Listen to me. Your cells will slowly die while your body freezes. But luckily, I want to become a hero. So, I would like to avoid unnecessary deaths. I need information. Who are those people in the ninja clothes? And why do you think you can kill All Might? Mountain Zone. Haminari. Ah. Haminari was screaming as he dodged a villain's punch and started to run away. Haminari. These guys are scary. My whole life flashed before my eyes. What's going on here? Kaminari asked as he ran back to Momo and Jiru, who were fighting the villains around them. Hyoka. Could you worry about that later? Jiru was annoyed with the boy's screams. Momo. Right now, we need to focus on dealing with each of them. Kaminari. Hurry up and give me a weapon too. Kaminari asked because Jiru had a sword and Momo a metal bow staff. Hyoka. You're not the electricity guy, just use it on them and we can put an end to it. Kaminari. Don't you pay attention during to the combat training, gosh, we were both a duo. I can only cover my body with electricity, but if I try to throw him out, he'll go all over the place and start to shoot everyone, including you. I can't control it. Besides, I can't even ask for help. They're still jamming the signals. So I'm counting on you. I can't count on me. Hyoka. Aren't you a man? You should be more like Midoriya. Jiru said that last part as a whisper. Haminari. Hey, I heard that. He said before dodging another punch from the same guy as before. He jumped back, but Jiru blushed at what he said and kicked him in the back, making him lunge at the villain. Hyoka. Shut up and it will act like a human stun gun. Haminari. Is this seriously, you idiot? When the villain grabbed him, Kaminari's quirk activates and shocks the villain, but the boy was fine. Wait a minute. I'm strong. What do you think? Am I good like Midoriya now? He said while trying to show off. Hyoka. Not good enough. Jiru notices that some are heading towards her, so she uses one of her headphones and plugs it into her boot, making a loud thump. This also caused a villain attack to collapse with a sound wave and end up punching Kaminari in the face, causing electricity to surge up the villain's fist and into his body. The villain jumped on the 3 of them while wielding knives, but Momo quickly created a net and threw it at the villain, causing him to be caught and electrocuted as well. Momo. You two should take this more seriously. Momo said as she returned to her fighting position. Ioka. Sorry. Maybe I'll ask next time. Said as she plugged her headphones into her boots again, making the sound beat happen, only louder and wider. Ioka Jiru. Quirk. Earphone jack. When her pair of headphones that are plugged into her ears connect to something, Kyoka can channel the sound of her heartbeat in the form of a violent flutter attack. She can stretch her earlobe several meters. Her quirk also allows her to hear tiny sounds and vibrations around her. Kyoka. Kaminari, do you know what you could have done? You could have asked for some kind of targeting equipment when you ordered your suit. Jiru was clearly furious with the boy's stupidity. The villain was on them, jumped and went towards Jiru to cut her, but she dodged and Momo kicks the villain away. Momo. It's ready. Kyoka. What's ready? Momo. It'll take a while. Her back starts to get bigger, and her attire was ripping with the effort before she gave in, and a big white sheet came off her back. To do something big like that, a sheet fell on them. A sheet. Was that supposed to be a shield? The villains begin to question Momo's creation, but the girl sticks her head out and smiles at them. Momo. This is 100mm thick insulation. Come on Kaminari. Momo said before covering himself completely, and Kaminari smiled, realizing what that meant. Kaminari. Now I get it. In this case, you're all toast. Kaminari activated his quirk and shocked everyone there. After the shock wore off, everything in that electrical blast was burning and smoking. The sheet suffered, but the occupants were fine. Momo opened the sheet underneath and looked around to see if all the villains were fried. Momo. Now. I'm worried about the others. We should find them immediately. Kyoka. Hold on, you're a little exposed right now. Jiru was blushing at the sight. Momo looked at herself and saw what happened. When she created the sheet, her outfit ended up ripping in the process and causing her to show her boobs. Momo. Oh that. It's okay. I can make other clothes. Momo Yaoi Rozu. Quirk. Creation. It can create any object, no matter how complex or advanced its structure. It just needs to understand the atomic configuration of that object to reproduce it. Kyoka. Yaoi Rozu grew up pretty violently. Jiru thought as she looked at the Momo volumes. Until she heard footsteps and saw that the Kaminari was coming towards them. Kyoka. Kaminari. Don't look this way. Jiru shouted as she threw himself at Momo to act as Kaminari's shield, but he just passed. Jiru looked out of the sheet to see that he was different, as he had a happy face with 2 thumbs up. This was the result of overusing his quirk. His brain fried. Kaminari kept yelling as he walked around in circles, making Jiru laugh at him. The others stare at him as one hand leaves the floor. Back to Izuku. Izuku had reached the shore at the square where his teacher was. He stayed hidden until he was peering above the ground to see what was happening. He saw bodies on the ground as they heard punches rolling, and 2 villains were thrown to the ground. Aizawa jumped on 2 more villains, wrapped them around with his capture gun, and pulled them into the air. He redirects himself and goes down to where they were going and kicks them to the ground, knocking them out. Izuku. What a relief. Teacher Aizawa is fine. And apparently, the ninjas didn't even attack him. He thought relieved to see Aizawa on his feet fighting, however, he became wary of anything the Foot Clan ninjas did. Baxter. Looks like those goons you picked up weren't able to defeat this race or whatever. Do you want me to send the ninjas to kill him? Shigaraki. No. Let me take care of him myself. He said before running towards Aizawa, who noticed his presence and also ran towards the villain. Shigaraki. 23 seconds. Shota. Then you must be the big boss. He shouted as he threw his capture weapon at Shigaraki. Shigaraki. 24 seconds. Said while taking Aizawa's weapon. Shigaraki. 20 seconds. Aizawa steps forward to intercept the villain. Shigaraki. 17 seconds. He said while Aizawa was in front of him and grabbed a part of the scarf that the villain was holding while elbowing Shigaraki in the abdomen. Izuku was happy to see that his teacher landed a decent blow on the villain, but his happiness was cut short when he saw that Shigaraki was holding Aizawa's elbow as his hair fell out. Shigaraki. It's hard to see while the hair is moving. But eventually it falls out. Aizawa's eyes widened under his glasses in shock. And when he falls, it means he stopped using your quirk. The elbow the villain was holding starts to turn gray and dry as Aizawa becomes uncomfortable. Shigaraki. These intervals are getting shorter. Don't try too hard, Eraserhead. You'll end up falling apart. Izuku saw that Aizawa's elbow begins to crumble as the skin disintegrates, causing the muscle fiber to be exposed. But Aizawa punches Shigaraki in the belly and jumps away from him. The villain tries to punch him, but he dodges and kicks him away. Another tries to hit him with a chain, but he dodges again. Another villain with huge arms tries to land a punch on him, but he dodged it too, but now he was surrounding He looked around and saw that there were few villains, but there were still many of those ninjas who were standing around, just waiting for Baxter's order. Shota. This is not good. Shigaraki. That quirk of yours isn't suited to fighting a large group of enemies like this. It looks like you can't take it anymore. You work much better when you're in short fights after a surprise attack, Eraserhead. But still, you even got in the middle of all of them to make your students calmer. The villain tries to cut the hero, but Aizawa jumped out, dodged the attack and used his capture weapon. Aizawa used that villain's body as a shield against an attack and kicked his attacker away as the other was going to jump behind Aizawa, but he saw him and kicked away. Baxter. You three, attack. 3 ninjas went for Eraserhead, who dodged a sword but was kicked in the chest, causing him to fall to the ground. When Aizawa stands up, a chain is wrapped around his injured elbow, causing the hero to feel pain before being kicked in the face, causing him to stagger before being punched in the face that sends him to the ground. Aizawa tries to get up again, but is met by another kick, causing the hero to fall to the ground once more. Shigaraki. And look at you. Even though you're tired and beaten up, you still want to stand up. You are pretty fun, Eraserhead. He said before looking at Baxter. If you want to make your ninjas to kill him, feel free. Baxter signaled for one of the ninjas to kill him now. Following his order, 2 of the ninjas held Eraserhead, who was trying to get free but couldn't, while one of the ninjas was prepared to kill him. He was going to pierce the sword in the hero's chest, but he couldn't because Izuku arrived kicking the ninja in the face with a spin, causing him to fall to the ground. Aizawa, Shigaraki, and Baxter were surprised by the Greenish's sudden attack to save their teacher. Baxter? Who is that boy? Shota. Midoriya. He thought in surprise and shock with the sudden appearance of his student. Izuku. Stay away from my teacher. Izuku was looking serious and angry as he looked at the ninja who were holding Aizawa. The ninja who had the chain threw his weapon to catch Izuku, but the green one dodged all the attacks, approached the ninja, and punched him twice in the chest and a strong kick to his torso, causing the ninja to fall to the ground. The other who was holding Aizawa tries to attack with the greenish one with his sword, but Izuku kept dodging before grabbing the ninja's hands, giving 2 punches in one of his arms, making him drop the sword. Even unarmed, the ninja tries to punch the boy, who dodged before jumping with a spin and hitting his enemy squarely in the face. The ninja that Izuku knocked down the first time runs towards the greenish man with his sword in hand, but he is held back by the capture weapons of Aizawa, who was kneeling on the ground. Before the ninja could do anything to break free, he looks forward and sees Izuku very close to him before taking a strong punch to the chin, causing the ninja to stay in the air for a while before falling all over with Aizawa's tug. What they didn't know is that Sayu and Mineta were watching everything closely while they were hiding. They were amazed at that demonstration of Izuku's skill and his work in pairs with Aizawa. Seeing that those ninjas have already fallen and won't get up, Izuku approached Aizawa. Izuku? Mr. Aizawa, are you okay? He asked in a worried tone. Shota. I told you not to get involved in this, Midoriya. Izuku. Sorry, but I refuse to just watch you get beaten and die. Shota. It doesn't matter. Meet to the others. And run away. He said as he slowly got up. Izuku. Mr. Aizawa, you can give me any punishment after this and I won't complain. Just let me help you to deal with those guys over there. He said while he pointing to the ninjas. Aizawa said nothing. He only looked at Izuku before facing all those villains in front of them. Aizawa turned to Izuku and said. Shota. Just be careful and do whatever I say. If we make it out of here alive, you and I will have a serious talk. Izuku, yes sir. The two turned to the villains and got into a fighting stance. The villains, the ninjas, Baxter, Nomu and Shigaraki did nothing, just stared at their opponents. Shigaraki. This is getting very interesting. USJ entry. Kurogiri. Ah. The black hole. The quirk that sucks everything into dust. It's an incredible power. However, you're a rescue hero, 13. You work to rescue people from disaster. Means you have 0 battle experience. The mist villain said while opening a portal on himself and the black hole effect enters the portal. Another portal opens behind 13 and the effect of her quirk begins to affect her. His costume and some parts of his body were being pulled into the portal. Kurogiri. Too bad. It looks like you've turned to dust. Said while everyone on the stairs watched the body of 13 torn to pieces. 13's suction of power stopped as she began to fall forward. 13. I'm sorry. He caught me. Was what the hero managed to say as she fell to the ground. Bachako. 13. Sato turns to Iida. Sato. Iida, go. Get out of here. Go now. Iida was stunned and speechless as he didn't know what to do as he remembered the words 13 had said to him. He grits his teeth as his engines roar. He shoots and runs past the villain. Kurogiri. Trying to run away, child. I can't allow this. He said while going in Iida's. If the others arrive, it will be more difficult for us to finish All Might. Iida was close to being twisted, but… Denya. Everyone is depending on me. My classmates. My friend. My classmates. I will. Iida thought it was over for him until Shoji jumped on him and grabbed the villain. Shoji. Run. I got him. Just go. Shoji shouted when Iida started to run again. Denya. I'll be back. Hang in there, guys. Kurogiri. You naughty child. The villain shouted as he went after Iida. Ichako soon saw something metal inside Kurogiri. Soon, she deduced that it was his body. Denya. I'm close. But what if it's blocked? Can I open it in time? Iida thought as the villain hovered over him. Kurogiri. I don't have time for this. Disappear. The villain used the same move that made most of the students go to different places. But when Kurogiri was about to do something, he felt lighter than he had a minute ago, and that made Iida slip away from him. Who did this was Ichako, who activated her quirk in the metallic part of Kurogiri's body. Ichako. I don't know what his quirk is. But he has some kind of armor. Which means he has a physical body. Ichako picked up the villain and threw it in the air. Zero. Run, Iida. Go get help. Iida continued to run to the door and tried to open it with his strength, and it was working because the gate was opening. Kurogiri. Come here now. He flew towards Iida. Zero. I don't think so. Zero yelled as he threw a roll of duct tape at the villain's armor, holding him. Zero cut the ribbon for Sato to grab him. As he did so, he began to spin to create momentum and speed in the throw, until he released the ribbon and Kurogiri floated away from them. As for Iida, he left USJ. As he ran at high speed, he saw something that surprised him. It was a vehicle that was heading right in the direction of USJ. Iida was curious as to why that van was going over there, but he decided to leave that for later. First he would need to call in reinforcements. Back to Izuku. Izuku and Izawa were still standing there facing that large group of ninjas and villains. Baxter was going to give the order for all his ninjas to attack him, but Shigaraki stopped him with his raised hand. Shigaraki. No. Let me demonstrate my weapon to these two. I want to demonstrate to them the anti-symbol of peace, he said, looking at Nomu, who was right next to Shigaraki. Before Shigaraki gave the order, a purple portal opened and Kurogiri walked out of it. Kurogiri. Tamura Shigaraki. Shigaraki. Kurogiri. What are you doing here? Did you manage to kill 13? He asked, curious and anxious for the results. Kurogiri. The rescue heroine will no longer be a problem. But there were some students who weren't eliminated and one of them managed to escape. Shigaraki. What? Was the only thing he said before he started scratching his neck violently. Shigaraki. Kurogiri. You idiot. If you weren't our transport source, I would have smashed you to pieces, he said while scratching his neck before suddenly stopping and lowering his hands. Shigaraki. Even with these ninjas, I doubt we'll beat the dozens of professionals who might show up to stop us. It's game over. Back to the title screen. Damn, let's go home. Sayu and Mineta, who remained in hiding, heard what Shigaraki said. Mineta. Did I hear that right? Did he just say they're leaving? Sayu. That's what I heard. Mineta started crying with joy and threw herself into Tsayu's body. Mineta. That's it. We're saved, he said while hugging the girl's body. Sayu. Yes. But… Sayu felt Mineta's hand on her breasts and it made her blush, and then she pushed him into the water. Sayu. I warned you, Mineta. Izuku heard Mineta's cry of joy, looked in the direction where he heard his voice and his eyes widened. Izuku. Tsu. Mineta. What are they doing here? He thought in shock to see that his two classmates were nearby. Shigaraki. Before we leave, let's make sure the symbol of peace is broken. We'll destroy your pride, Shigaraki said as he disappeared and reappeared in front of the girl and the short man. Shigaraki. Let's make this hurt. He moved her hand to Tsayu's face. Izuku. No. No. Izuku ran with all his speed as his world went into slow motion. Izuku knew what would happen if Shigaraki touched Tsayu, and he already had the image of the girl turning to dust in his head. Tsayu, on the other hand, saw him approaching and couldn't react, she just remained static while waiting for her death. Shigaraki was about to touch the girl's face, but he felt a hand grab her arm tightly. Sayu, Aizawa, Mineta and Shigaraki look at whoever stopped the villain and see that it was Izuku who grabbed his arm. Izuku. Stay away from her. Smash. Izuku threw a punch, which caused a very strong wind, pushing many and destroying the lights. As Izuku caught his breath, he noticed his arm was fine. Izuku. My arm didn't break. That is good. After all this training and time, now I can smash without breaking myself. Izuku thought as he looked up and saw Nomu standing in front of him, and he was the one who took the punch. Izuku. Where did he come from? He saw where his fist was and… Wait a minute. He… wasn't hurt. Shigaraki. You're very light and strong. This your smash. Are you one of All Might's followers? Izuku froze. Shigaraki. So I want you to meet Nomu, the anti-symbol of peace. He was made to kill All Might. Izuku. What? So. This thing is their weapon to kill All Might. He thought with his eyes as he trembled looking at Nomu in front of him. Shigaraki. I'd even make you watch the show if I could. But since you attacked me, I'm going to finish you off now. Kill him, Nomu. Nomu grabbed Izuku's arm and was going to use his other hand to kill the greenish one. Aizawa tries to use his quirk to nullify the creature's power, but to no avail. Sai. Midoriya. She screamed worried when she saw the boy have his arm grabbed by the creature. Mineta, on the other hand, was terrified. Shigaraki. Look at me, girl. He said as he went back to doing what he tried before, touching Sayu's face and killing her. But before Nomu and Shigaraki can kill the youths, they hear a loud horn sound coming from behind the USJ gate. Everyone at the entrance and in the central square was surprised and confused by this horn, but a certain greenish person knew the sound of this horn and knew the way it was sounded. Suddenly, a van slammed into the door and everyone at the entrance got out of the way of the vehicle, which swooped down to the square. The vehicle kept accelerating and was going to hit Shigaraki, that upon seeing this, he became wide-eyed and shouted for Nomu. Shigaraki. Nomu, get me out of here. Upon hearing that order, Nomu let go of Izuku's arm and saved Shigaraki from being hit by the van by taking the man towards the group of ninjas, who became attentive when they saw that van that braked and stopped in front of everyone. Everyone present at the USJ saw this vehicle enter and recognized it from the video that ran on the news channel. They didn't know who was inside, but Izuku knows very well who owns this van. Soon the vehicle door opens, and one by one, the turtles exit the vehicle with their eyes fixed on the villains and ninjas of the Foot Clan. Leonardo had a very serious look, Raphael had an angry expression, Michelangelo had a mocking smile, Donatello had his eyes narrowed as he analyzed his enemies. All the students, villains and even Aizawa were shocked and perplexed by what they were seeing. There were 4 huge and armed tortoises. Izuku looked at them and didn't know how to feel when he saw them there. He didn't know if he was relieved and happy to see his friends, considerate brothers here at USJ to face the Foot Clan, or if he was panicked to see that they were exposing themselves to everyone present there. Izuku. They're here. He thought open-mouthed as he remained on the floor. Baxter. I can't believe they showed up. Baxter was perplexed to see that the turtles had the courage to appear in front of everyone. Shigaraki. Stockman, do you know who they are? He said while walking beside the flyman along with Nomu. Baxter. Of course I do. Those turtles are our enemies that we tell you about. Shigaraki. So your enemies are these turtles? He said while looking with disbelief at the brothers. Kurogiri. And apparently they knew we were here. But how? Focusing now on the turtles, Michelangelo looked around and saw Izuku static looking at them. Michelangelo. Izuku. Guys, Izuku is over there. The brothers turned, saw Izuku and walked towards the green. Donatello. Izuku, are you okay? Izuku. No. No. Leonardo. Aren't you well? What are you feeling? He asked while looking for injuries on Izuku's body. Izuku. No, that's not that. What are you guys doing here? Raphael. Isn't it obvious? We came here to help you. Izuku. But you're being seen. Everyone's looking at you. You have to go now. He shouted as he panicked. Michelangelo. Dude, take it easy, man. Breathe and relax. We know we're being seen and we don't care about that. He said as he placed both his hands on the greenish man's shoulders. Leonardo. What matters is your safety. You are our friend and those over there. He said while pointing to the villains. They are our enemies too. Not to mention that the Foot Clan is also here. Izuku. But. I thought you guys didn't want to be seen. That you didn't want to be exposed to everyone. Leonardo. Our time of staying in the shadows and hiding is over. He said while turning to the villains and the ninjas. Raphael. If we need to come out of the shadows and be seen by many people while we punch our enemies in the face and save you, we'll do it. He said while he, Donnie and Mikey stared at the enemies. Izuku. Guys. Izuku couldn't believe what he was seeing and hearing. Those turtles are doing all that for him. It was as if Izuku was part of another family. And he was feeling that way. Splinter. Izuku. Izuku turned around and was shocked to see that Splinter was also right there, along with his sons, appearing to everyone. Izuku. Master Splinter. Splinter. You'll need this for this battle. He said as he held out the tonfas to Izuku, who hesitated a little to take them. But when to Splinter, he nodded his head for him to do so. So he did. But he was still reluctant about what to do. Sai. Midoriya-chan. Izuku turned around and saw Tsuyu and Mineta with shocked expressions. Izuku. Titsu. Mineta. WW, what's going on, who are they? He asked while pointing to the turtles. Izuku. They. Izuku looked at the turtles, who had their backs to the greenish one, then he looked at Mineta and Tsuyu, then at Izawa, who seemed static with what he was seeing, and finally, Izuku looked at his colleagues who were on the stairs of the USJ, while they are looking at the turtles. Izuku stared at his tonfas until he got a determined look, took a deep breath and said in a good tone. Izuku. They're my brothers. Splinter and the turtles were surprised by what they heard, but they were also happy for that consideration. Izuku. Master, can you help them and my teacher get to the gate? Splinter. Sure. Good luck and be careful, boys. You come with me, I'll take you to your colleagues. Tsuyu. But what about Midoriya? She said in a worried tone as she looked at Izuku. Izuku. Tsu, I'll be fine. It's your safety that I care about. So please, stay safe. He said while he's standing next to the turtles, who already took their weapons. Izuku. I'll help you with this fight, guys. He said while standing next to the turtles while smiling at them. Leonardo. You're going to be a big help, little brother. Okay, guys. Everyone in position. Izuku. Raph. Donnie. Mikey. Right. They shouted prepared as they kept each one of their weapons in hand. Izawa was going to approach to stop and take Izuku out of harm's way, but Splinter stopped him by placing his staff in front of him. Splinter. Do not worry. Shota. But Midoriya. Splinter. I understand your concern, but it's going to be okay. Together they're more than a team. They're family. So. Let them fight. In Splinter, Tsuyu, Mineta and Izawa's vision, we see Izuku and the turtles getting into a fighting stance with their weapons showing up. With Izuku with the two tonfas in his arms, with Leonardo with one of his swords in his hand, with Michelangelo spinning his nunchaku, with Raphael firmly holding his sei and Donatello with his staff in his two hands. All of them are prepared for the fight that is about to ensue. On the USJ stairs, everyone was watching everything that was going on. Zero. Who are those guys? They are giant lizards or something like that. Zero was trying to see better who they were. Sato. I don't know. They look more like turtles. Shoji. But the curious thing is that Midoriya seems to know them. Zero. True, he's even on their side. Mina. So you mean they're friends? So they came here to help. As they were talking about who the turtles were and why Izuku was by their side, Achako watched intently. She saw that Izuku was coming face to face with the Foot Clan ninjas, who were in fighting stances with their weapons in their hands. Achako. Takeru. The girl was worried about the boy's safety and feared that something would happen to him. In the mountainous area, we see that Momo had binoculars in hand next to Kyoka, who was watching everything from that distance, while Kaminari was sitting on the ground shouting yay. Kyoka. So, what's going on? Can you see who they are? She asked trying to observe. Momo. Do they look like turtles? She asked in surprise as she took the binoculars out of her eyes and handed them to Kyoka. Kyoka. What? She asked confused before using the binoculars and having a better view of it. I mean. I've seen people having mutation quirks, but for having the same types. Momo. That's curious, but what intrigues me is. How does Midoriya know them? Back at the central square, Izuku and the turtles were staring intently at their enemies, who were also staring at the heroes. Shigaraki. So these turtles are your mortal enemies. TCH, they don't even seem like a big deal. Kurogiri. Tamura Shigaraki, if the Shredder said they are the big problem for him and his clan, then they must be very skilled and powerful opponents. Baxter. But they won't stand in our way for long. Ninjas, all of you, kill the turtles, and that kid too. He shouted while pointing to the heroes, who became more attentive. The ninjas were slowly approaching Izuku and the turtles, who still haven't moved. Until. Leonardo. Wait. Make way cause the kings is back. Leonardo. Let's go. He yelled running towards the enemies, and he wasn't alone. Our heroes ran towards the ninjas, who also did the same thing. The central square was looking like a battlefield because of this big battle, which could be seen by almost everyone on the USJ. It goes 1 for the money homie, 2 for the show. We tore the office mother, now it's time to blow. Like we don't need no water, don't bother, we let it burn. We keep the fire just a little bit hotter, that way you learn. Leonardo was fighting a ninja who was trying to attack the turtle with a sword, but Leo was able to defend himself without difficulty. Until he opened his enemy's guard, he kicked his enemy in the head, causing him to be held by another ninja, but Leo knocked him down in the direction of 3 more ninjas attacking him with his arm. Michelangelo was fighting a ninja who tried to attack the turtle with a sword, but Mikey took his weapon by wrapping the chains of his weapon in his enemy's and threw it somewhere, little knowing he hit one of the ninjas in the foot, making he scream in pain. The ninja tries to attack Michelangelo with a kick, but Mikey ducked, and that ninja landed the kick on the other ninja who was on Mikey's other side. Laughing, Mikey slams his nunchaku into the head of the ninja in front of him before running towards another ninja. Respect I earn. Started with the click that I hang. Respect I earn. Ever since I got in this game. Izuku, who had knocked down a ninja with a blow to his head with one of his tonfas, is grabbed from behind by one of the ninjas, and there was another one in front who would try to kill the boy. But Izuku takes a blow to the belly of the ninja that is grabbing him from behind, making him retreat, dodging the attack of the ninja that was in front of him before giving two to his enemy, one in the torso and another in the face of the unfortunate. The ninja who grabbed him kicked him in the leg and the other in the head. Another ninja tries to attack the greenish one, but the boy bends down and makes a blow with his two tonfas. What the boy didn't expect was that this blow was strong and powerful enough to make his enemy fly in the direction of 5-5, making they all fall. Izuku was surprised by this, but put it aside. This was not the time to think about it. Respect I earn. Never wanting fortune or fame. I'd rather have these South Dago streets knowing my name. Raphael, who had pierced his enemy's leg with one of his sei, grabbed the ninja's body and used it to trample anyone in front of him. Some managed to dodge, others not. Jiggy check. Microphone check. Jiggy check. Microphone check. Lights out. Game over. If you want you can check my stats. Lights out. Game over. Make way cause the kings is back. Donatello was surrounded by several ninjas who were ready to attack the turtle. But what they didn't expect was for him to put his staff on the ground and rotate his body while holding his weapon stuck in the ground, thus managing to kick several of his enemies in the face. Seeing that his move worked, Donnie takes the staff off the ground and runs towards the other ninjas, while landing a blow to the head of one of them with his staff as he ran. Master Splinter, Mineta, Aizawa, who was being held by Tsuyu, were walking towards the stairs. Until Aizawa looked back and saw some villains running towards them. Shota. Watch out. Master Splinter saw them coming and decided to take action to fight. We lyrical murder and like we criminal. It's life or death medical decision. We so dope out the lab that you'll need a prescription. The hood is listening so for you that I wrote this. Keep it underground. Sticking to the streets like the homeless. But the dopeness, recognize the real POD cause we triple og. Splinter didn't even make a point of moving his body, he just used his tail to grab the neck of one of the bandits and throw him on top of the other. Still using his tail, Splinter grabs their leg, who jumped on top of the heroes, and uses his body to hit other villains that were getting close to them, and since that Splinter was grabbing with his tail, Splinter put him in his forward and hit him hard on the head with his staff. Another villain, who was big, goes for the mouse, but Splinter didn't even look at him. No, Splinter delivered several blows to his enemy's hands with his staff as he tried to attack Splinter, and the blows were so strong that he felt pain. But he didn't have time to react when he saw Splinter jump and kick him in the face, knocking him unconscious. Jiggy check. Microphone check. Jiggy check. Microphone check. Splinter turns to Aizawa, Tsuyu and Mineta, who were speechless with Splinter's ease of defeating those thugs and says, "Splinter. I may be an old rat, but I still know how to fight," he said while smiling. Lights out. Game over. If you want you can check my stats. Lights out. Game over. Make way cause the kings is back. Izuku, who had knocked down a ninja with a knee to the face, runs towards Donatello and they decide to work together. Izuku. Donnie, do you want a little help there? He shouted as he ran towards the turtle. Donatello. With pleasure. Donatello grabs Izuku's arm and spins with him, causing Izuku to kick some ninjas behind Donnie. After they've fallen, Izuku and Donnie nod to each other and split up to fight some other ninja. Lights out. Game over. If you really think you got it like that. Lights out. Game over. Word on the streets is the boys is back. Leonardo, who had headbutted a ninja in the face, took advantage of his stunned appearance and kicked him hard in the direction of other ninjas. Izuku. Leo. Leonardo turned around and saw Izuku running towards him and already knew what to do. Leonardo. Go for it. Leonardo got to his knees while Izuku jumps on him and lands a kick on one of the ninjas. After falling off him and delivering a final blow, Izuku runs in a random direction. Lights out. Game over. If you wanna, you can check my stats. Lights out. Game over. Make way cause the kings is back. Izuku found Raphael, who was punching two ninjas in the face. Until one was going at the turtle with his sword in his hand, but before the Raph dodged, Izuku appeared and hit that ninja hard in the face with his tonfa, making him fall in full. Izuku. Shell shock? He asked while looking at Raph. Raphael. Shell shock, man. He said while smiling and punching a ninja who was going to attack the turtle from behind. Lights out. Game over. If you really think you got it like that. Lights out. Game over. Word on the streets is the boys is back. Izuku was dodging several attacks from one of the ninjas until he landed a blow on his enemy's arm and then delivered a strong blow with his tonfa to the unfortunate ninja's face. But what he didn't know was that 5 ninjas would attack the boy at the same time, but they couldn't because Michelangelo appeared and landed several kicks in their face, and the last one he gave several blows with his nunchaku. Michelangelo. Buyukasha, dude. After that, the turtles reunite with Izuku and stare at the remaining ninjas around them. But before any of them could do anything, a blur appeared and knocked many of the ninjas down. This blur stands in front of Izuku and the turtles, and it soon revealed who it is. All Might. It's alright. Because I'm here. Yes, All Might showed up and he wasn't smiling. Izuku. All Might. Izuku and the turtles were surprised to see the hero in front of them. All the students were happy and relieved to see the number 1 hero at USJ to help them. Lights out. Game over. Make way cause the kings is back. Lights out. Game over. Word on the streets is the boys is back. Soon, All Might went on top of the ninjas and defeated each one of them quickly and without difficulty. Making Izuku smile before running towards the other ninjas, the turtles saw Izuku act and decided to accompany the boy. Lights out. Game over. Make way cause the kings is back. Lights out. Game over. If you really think you got it like that. With only a few ninjas left in front of him, Izuku dodged an attack and delivered a hail of blows to his enemy with his tonfas. Raphael tripped one of them, grabbed his leg and rotated the ninja's body until he let go and made him fall straight on top of the other. Leonardo kicked his enemy in the leg, then punched him in the chin and one in the face. Donatello hit his staff in the intimate part of his opponent, making him feel pain, so that he then hit his head with a blow from his weapon. Mikey made his chains extended, wrapped them around 2 ninjas, and threw them in the direction of one that was heading for Michelangelo. Lights out, microphone check. It's lights out, microphone check. Make way cause the kings is back. All the ninjas were defeated and they were all lying on the ground. Izuku, All Might and the turtles are side by side as they look at the remaining villains, which were Baxter, Nomu, Shigaraki and Kurogiri, who were in shock at what they saw. Lights out. And the chapter ends with our heroes while in combat stance as they glare at the villains in front of them. We're back at USJ. All the Foot Clan ninjas are down and defeated thanks to the Turtle Brothers, Izuku and All Might, who even arrived late, helped a lot in the fight. Now in this moment, our heroes are staring at the villains left. Baxter. TT they have been defeated. Damn them. The Master Shredder will kill me when he hears about this. Shigaraki. He finally came. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, the game continues. He said while smiling. Baxter. Why do you keep talking about game, huh? Focusing now on our heroes. All Might. Young Midoriya, are you okay? He asked without taking his eyes off the villains. Izuku, why yes All Might. I'm fine. How did you know the USJ was under attack? He said without taking his eyes off the villains too. All Might. I had a bad feeling, so I came as fast as I could. But when young Ida ran past me, I knew something was wrong. All Might. How could I? Because of me, everyone was in danger. All Might was irritated. Not only with himself, but also by the daring of villains to attack. Michelangelo. Guys, am I going crazy or am I seeing All Might in front of us? Yes, our dear Mikey was freaking out seeing Japan's number 1 hero in front of him. Oh my holy pizza. Someone pinch me. Raphael. Leave it to me. Raphael took advantage and pinched Michelangelo's arm hard. Michelangelo. Ah. Hey, I just spoke for the sake of speaking. He said as he put his hand on the place where he was pinched. Raphael. Really? Oh, I'm sorry, my little brother, I didn't know. He said while pretending to be in disbelief. Raphael did know. Leonardo. Seriously? You are going to start making a scene right here and now? Leonardo looked like he didn't believe it. All Might, who was focused on the villains, heard the turtles and took a quick look at the brothers. All Might. Young Midoriya, who are they? Izuku. It's okay, All Might. They're friends and they came here to help. All Might wanted to know more about who they are, but not right now in this situation. He turned to face the villains as he analyzed each one. But Izuku looked back at All Might and noticed a detail in him. Izuku. He's not smiling. Focusing now on the students who are at the entrance to USJ. Sato. That's it. All Might is here. Zero. What a relief, man. Ichako and Mina, who were looking after 13, were crying with joy to see All Might at USJ to save them. Mineta. Guys. They all looked towards the stairs and saw Mineta, Sayu and Izawa coming towards them. The students approached them and made sure they were all right. Shoji. Teacher, are you okay? Shota. I was injured and even took a few hits, but I'm fine. Sayu. We're all fine. Even more thanks to Midoriya, those turtles, All Might and Splinter. Ichako. Who is Splinter? Zero. GG guys, TT there's a big rat here with us. He shouted when he saw Splinter and pointed at him. When they saw the Splinter, the students who were in the entrance were startled and took a step back. Splinter. Sigh, certain things never change. He said as he put his hand on his face. Sato. W, who are you? Shota. It's okay, he's helping us. Said looking at 13. 13. What happened? Mina. That villain whose body was made of mist did this. She said while looking worriedly at the heroine. He opened a portal behind her while she used her quirk. What caused it? 13. Even though she was badly injured, she was still conscious. She heard Aizawa's voice and looked at him a little. 13. Aizawa. All Might is here. Shota. Yes, he's here. 13. That's good. When the other teachers arrive, take the students to a safe place. Splinter. Allow me to help you, lady. He said as he approached and knelt next to 13. 13. W, who are you? Splinter. It's okay, I'm a friend. He said while activating his mystical power, which was fire coming out of his two hands. Shota. What are you doing? He asked looking at the small fire coming out of Splinter's hands. Splinter. Take it easy. My fire can also help against injuries. I can't heal broken bones or very serious injuries, but it helps to ease the pain and make the injuries go away gradually. Yashi Hamato. Splinter. Mystical power. Self-combustion. His mystical power allows him to set parts of his body on fire. It can be useful during combat and even to tend to the wounded. Focusing now on Izuku, the turtles and All Might. Shigaraki. We've been waiting for you, hero. He said while catching the attention of All Might, Izuku and the turtles brothers. Look, what you did just now was wonderful. As expected, you're very fast. I couldn't even keep up you with my eyes. But, you're not as fast as I thought. So it was true. You're getting weaker. All Might bristled and took a step forward. Izuku. All Might, wait. That villain with the exposed brain took a punch from me, but he didn't even move. If we all work together, we can. All Might. It's okay, young Midoriya. You've done enough. I just asked that you go to the entrance with the others. He said a little before he turned to the turtles. Young turtles. Look, I only asked that you go with young Midoriya to the entrance. You can leave that to me. Raphael. Wait a minute, is he serious? Does he want to face those villains alone? Leonardo. Look, Mr. All Might. I've heard a lot about you, and I respect you, but fighting against this thing alone is too dangerous. Michelangelo. It may not seem like it, but my brothers and I are strong, especially when we fight together. Donatello. And the chances of us winning as a team are very high. Izuku. Izuku just watched everything. All Might. Young turtles. Like I said, it's okay. What you guys did together with young Midoriya has helped enough. I don't want any of you to get hurt at this fight. Even though I don't know you, I believe that you are good people. Now go to the entrance and leave this to me. All Might turned to Shigaraki and advanced towards him. All Might. Carolina. Shigaraki. Nomu. When giving the order, Nomu stood in front of Shigaraki. All Might. Smash. All Might cut the air with his hands, causing the water to fly, but Nomu didn't move. He glared at All Might before trying to grab him, but luckily, the hero ducked just in time. All Might. Didn't he get any scratches? Wait a minute. All Might punched Nomu in the stomach, who still didn't move. All Might delivered 2 punches to the creature's face, which seemed to feel no pain. The creature tried to grab All Might, but he dodged it by jumping backwards. All Might. It doesn't even work on the face. Nomu approached All Might, who kept throwing hard punches at the creature, but he didn't seem to be suffering at all. Shigaraki. It doesn't work because of the shock absorption. To damage Nomu, it would be effective to slowly rip off his flesh. But I don't think he'll let you do that. All Might. Thanks for telling me all this. All Might dodged Nomu's fist, grabbed the creature from behind, and smashed the beast's head to the ground, causing a strong wind, which forced Shigaraki, Izuku, and the turtles to cover their faces with their arms. Sato. That's it. Take that. See what you guys get for underestimating All Might. Mineta. Did he make a wrestling move cause an explosion? How amazing. All Might can finish that monster. Sayu. Even though he's a rookie teacher, he can't teach classes without notes. Sayu's comment made everyone look at her. Except Splinter, who was watching the fight closely. Splinter. I understand him wanting to fight alone. But the chances of winning are pretty low. Back to Izuku and the turtles. Michelangelo. Dude, what force was that? Raphael. I confess that I was even impressed. He said while getting a surprised face. Donatello. Will All Might be able to handle that thing without our help? He asked as he adjusted his glasses on his face. Leonardo. What do you think, Izuku? Izuku. Leonardo. Izuku. Izuku. Remember when I told you guys that All Might passed his power to me? He said without taking his eyes off the smoke. Donatello. Yes, we remember. Why? Izuku. All Might is not at his peak because of an injury he has. All Might doesn't have much time, especially since he used so much of his power this morning, and with his power being transmitted for me. Raphael. Wait, do you mean that All Might, Michelangelo, don't have much time and are getting weak? Leonardo. So does that mean he can lose this fight? The turtles were worried upon learning this new information, while Izuku trembled in fear for what would happen to All Might. Izuku. I didn't tell you that because it's a secret the world can't know. When the smoke cleared, we can see that All Might was being subdued by Nomu, who began to exert pressure on All Might's old wound near his stomach, causing him to bleed. Shigaraki. Were you trying to stop him from moving by shoving him deep into the concrete? You won't be able to do that. Because Nomu is as strong as you are. When All Might tried to shove the creature's head into the ground, Kurogiri opened 2 portals, with the second having Nomu digging his fingers into the hero's wound. All Might let go of the creature and tried to get free, but it was no use. Tired of standing still, Izuku runs at high speed to punch Nomu's hand with his tonfas, but what no one expected was that in Izuku's hands, a mystical green-colored energy came out of them. But that energy coming out of his hands, Izuku gave the creature a strong punch, making him drop the All Might that he took advantage of and managed to escape before falling deeper into Kurogiri's portal, who walked away from the two, but didn't close the portals. The turtles saw that energy manipulation coming out of Izuku's hands and already knew what it was. Leonardo. Izuku got his mystical power. He thought with his mouth open as he looked at the boy's fist. All Might. Young Midoriya, I told you. Izuku. I know very well what you said, All Might. But I'll just can't stand by while I watch you get murdered. A hero should always help those in danger, no matter what. He said while looking at All Might, who saw the tears were coming out of Izuku's eyes. All Might. Young Midoriya, All Might didn't know what to say. Shigaraki. You again stop getting in the way. Kurogiri, get rid of this kid for good. Kurogiri. Right. Kurogiri advanced towards the greenish and All Might. He opened a portal to try to catch Izuku and finish him off, but what they didn't expect was that another portal, only a blue one, opened below Izuku and All Might, causing them to fall into it. The villains didn't understand anything until they looked at the turtles and saw a portal open beside them high above, and out of it came Izuku and All Might, who fell to the ground. Kurogiri. But what? Leonardo. What is it? Are you in shock, smoke guy? He said while closing the portal with his sword. Leonardo Hamato mystical power. Transport. His swords allow him to create portals wherever wants, they serve to teleport people and objects. Not only that, he can also teleport himself to wherever one of his swords is. Kurogiri. So you have the same quirk as mine. Leonardo. Do you think that what you just saw was a quirk? Keep dreaming. Kurogiri. What? Isn't it a quirk? Izuku, thanks Leo. He said as he got up. Leonardo. You're welcome. Guys, everyone in position. When giving the order, Leonardo and his brothers were in a fighting position. Shigaraki. Nomu, crush those turtles. Nomu started walking slow. Light towards the turtles, who remained in position. Raphael, hey Mikey. He said without taking his eyes off Nomu. Michelangelo. What? Raphael. Remember that word you used to say when we were kids? Michelangelo. Oh, yes. I remember, but you forbade me to say that. I even changed that word to Buyukasha, man. Raphael. Okay, I know. But forget what I said that time. Kind of. I missed that. Do you still remember how to say it? Michelangelo. Haha, of course I remember, dude. Nomu started running towards them. Leonardo. Get him. He shouted as they started to run. Raphael. Go on, Mikey. He shouted as they ran. Michelangelo. Cowabunga. Donatello jumped up to try to hit Nomu, but the creature hit the turtle with its arm, knocking Donnie away. Michelangelo tried to use the chains of his weapon, but Nomu grabbed him and kept rotating him with Mikey, making him hit Leo, who was going for the creature. Raphael lunged upward with his sei, but Nomu hit the turtle in the face, causing it to fall to the ground. Raphael. Damn, he's really tough. He said while massaging his face as he stood up. Nomu was going for Raphael, but a chain was around the creature's neck. Who did this was Mikey, who was holding Nomu from behind him. Michelangelo. Get over here, bogeyman. Michelangelo Hamato. Mystical power. Chain. His weapon, which can be an Nunchaku or Kusurigama, has a power that makes the chains extend almost infinitely. Not only that, but the chains have a power that makes anything or anyone feel light. In addition to another detail of this power that Mikey does not use yet. Before the creature could free itself from those chains on its neck, Donnie appeared and swung his staff into Nomu's leg, causing him to kneel as he was met by a strong punch to the face, which was delivered by Raphael. But before Nomu could hit the Raphael, another Raphael appeared who pierces Nomu's other leg with his sai. Shigaraki. What? 2. Raphael. 1 Raphael is good. But others are much better. Said the original Raphael while 2 more clones of him are running towards Nomu. Raphael Hamato. Mystical power. Multiplication. His power allows him to create clones of himself out of energy. The problem is that these clones are not as tough as the original, but they are useful. The other 2 Raphaels were left grabbing Nomu while using their sai to pierce the creature. Until Nomu grabs the chains that are around his neck, pulls hard along with Mikey, causing the turtle to fall to the ground in front of the creature, who tries to punch Mikey, but a portal opens in his side and Leo pulls your brother, preventing his brother from receiving the blow. Michelangelo. Thank you, brother. Nomu catches the 2 Raph clones with both hands and crushes them, causing them to dissipate. The 2 remaining Raph tried to attack the monster, but it retaliated by punching one in the belly, while taking the other's leg and throwing it all to the ground. Nomu sees the turtles and runs towards them, but he is soon met by a big sledgehammer that knocks him back a little. Whoever did this was Donnie with his mystical power. Donatello. I call that. He said as his staff returned to normal. Donnie's sledgehammer. Donatello Hamato. Mystical power. Upgrade. His power allows him to improve everything with his staff, making him stronger or double in size. A nice of an upgrade. Shigaraki. GRRRR. We don't have much time for this. Kurogiri, help Nomu get rid of those turtles. Before Kurogiri even did anything, he was soon greeted by an explosion that came from behind him. Whoever did this was Bakugo, who managed to hit the metallic part of Kurogiri's body, which was left on the ground. Meanwhile, a stream of ice appeared and covered a good part of Nomu's body. Who made this ice was Shoto Todoroki. Izuku. Guys, what are you doing here? Izuku was surprised to see Bakugo, Todoroki and Kirishima who came along. Bakugo? Isn't it obvious, you nerd, we came here too. Bakugo stopped talking when he saw the turtles next to Izuku and All Might. Kirishima. Hey Midoriya, who are they? Izuku. I'll explain later, we have important things to focus on. That thing was Shoto. Created to kill All Might. I know it. One of those henchmen told me. But I won't allow the symbol of peace to be killed by people like them. Raphael. I liked him. He told to Leonardo. Shigaraki. The Kurogiri, which is our entrance and exit, has been taken over. We're in trouble. Kurogiri tries to move, but Bakugo threatens him with an explosion. Bakugo. Don't even try to move. If you dare to make a single move, I'll blow you to pieces. He said while smiling terribly. Kirishima. That wasn't heroic at all. Kurogiri. I agree. Does this boy want to be a hero? Shigaraki. Even after all this, these kids are mostly unharmed. These kids are amazing. They're putting the League of Villains to shame. He said before turning to Baxter. I must admit, Stockman, those enemies of yours are impressive too. But I think it's time to end it. Nomu. Break the ice and get up. Hearing his order, Nomu breaks the ice, even with some of his body parts sticking out of him. This shocked everyone, even more so when the creature's arm and leg began to rebuild and grow back. Michelangelo. What is this? Is he regenerating? Michelangelo was horrified and frightened by what he was seeing. All Might. Young people, stay back there. He said as he stood in front of everyone while showing his arm to stop them from coming. Raphael. Now I'm confused. Wasn't that thing's quirk shock absorption? Shigaraki. I didn't say that was all he had. What you're seeing is super regeneration. Nomu has been modified to face All Might with 100% effectiveness. Donatello. In other words, this thing is an efficient punching bag. Shigaraki. Haha, you're very observant, turtle. Baxter. This thing is impressive, I must admit, Shigaraki. Izuku, All Might, Todoroki and the turtles prepare to face Nomu. Shigaraki. First, we need to retrieve our portal. Shigaraki's comment made everyone watch, especially All Might and Leonardo, who stuck one of his swords in the ground while throwing the other sword in the direction where Bakugo was. Shigaraki. Go Nomu. Nomu ran in the direction where Bakugo was and was going to punch him. All Might was surprised and would run to Bakugo's rescue, but he saw Leonardo's sword right next to Bakugo and saw the turtle itself teleport next to the boy. Leo grabbed the Bakugo's shoulder and teleported along with the boy to where our heroes were before they were met by the punch. Bakugo. But what the? All Might. Young turtle. He was fast. Izuku, good job Leo. Izuku and the brothers were impressed and happy with Leonardo's action. Raphael. Well done, man. Donatello. You went pretty fast, brother. Leonardo. It's like Master Splinter once said. Sometimes you have to think fast to be fast. He said while keeping one of his katanas behind his back while keeping the other in his hands as he looked at Nomu. Michelangelo. Talked and said, dude. Shigaraki. All of you keep surprising me. I enjoyed watching it. Michelangelo. Come on, what's your problem? All Might. You would attack a kid, you bastard. Shigaraki. I only did it to rescue my companion. I had no choice. Also, earlier, that boy over there with green hair and a green band on his face. He said while pointing to Izuku. He was about to hit me with everything he had. Izuku. Because you tried to kill my classmate. Baxter. Damn, now I don't even know who's worse. Shigaraki or the Master Shredder. Shigaraki. You know what? I'm angry. I'm angry at this world that classifies the same violent acts of heroes or villains, deciding what's good and what's bad. But you, All Might, you can even be the symbol of peace, but you are just a device to repress violence. Violence only breeds violence. And the world will understand that when we kill you. Leonardo. Liar. Shigaraki. What? All Might. You just want to enjoy this alone, don't you? Donatello. What you're trying to do is have fun. Shigaraki. So. They already found out. He said while narrowing his eyes. Shoto. It's 4 against 9. Izuku. Thanks to Bakugo, we figured out what the mist guy's weakness is. Hiroshima. Then let's help All Might. He said while activating his quirk. All Might. No, young ones. You have to. Leonardo. All Might. All Might turned to Leonardo, who approached the hero and whispered to him. Me and my brothers already know what's happening to you. All Might. What? All Might was in shock as Leonardo walked away. Leonardo. Don't worry, we won't say anything. But I want to make one thing very clear. If you keep pushing yourself against that thing alone, the chances of everyone getting hurt here are higher. Michelangelo. But if we all work as a team. He said while standing on the other side of All Might. The chances of winning are much higher. Donatello. The time is running out and you know what I'm saying. He said while standing next to Mikey. Raphael. And it's no use trying to convince us not to fight. I respect you, All Might. But fighting this thing alone, especially the way you are, is already awful stupidity. All Might. Young turtles. Leonardo. Don't worry about us. We already have years of experience in terms of fighting powerful enemies. You can count on us. Izuku. All Might. All Might turned around and saw Izuku at Leonardo's side with a serious face. I know you're worried about us. But together we are stronger. Trust us and let us to help you, sir. All Might was thoughtful, but seeing as he was running out of time, and at this rate everyone would get hurt, the hero had no choice but to accept help. All Might. Young Bakugo, Kirishima and Todoroki, prevent these remaining villains from interfering in the battle. Kirishima. Count on me. Bakugo. Don't keep telling me what to do. He said while activating his explosions. Shoto. I'll do what I can. All Might. Great. Young Midoriya, young turtles. Let's take this villain down. Izuku. Turtles. Right. Shigaraki. Nomu, take care of them. Kurogiri, Baxter, let's take care of these brats. Nomu was going to run towards them, but All Might, Izuku and Turtles ran in random directions around the creature, with the Turtles and All Might running at high speed. Nomu tried to keep up with each one of them, but there were so many targets. Until he took a beating from All Might, a cut on the chest caused by Leonardo's katana, a hit from Donnie's staff, a kick from Mikey, he beats hard on the right leg caused by Izuku, and an attack on his back by the salts of the Raphael. Nomu tried to attack each of them, but each time he tried, another one appeared and attacked him hard, while the other ran. Tired of being beaten, Nomu punches the ground hard, causing a shock wave, thus making our hero stop running. But Leonardo didn't stop acting, he threw one of his katanas as it spun towards Nomu, who hit the turtle's weapon with his arm, causing the sword to hover over the crossbow in the air. But what he didn't expect was that Leonardo teleported to where his sword was and threw it at Nomu's face, who was hit by the blow. But before he could do anything, Leo teleported to his sword which stopped on the ground, grabbed his other sword, and slammed the blade right into Nomu's eyes, slashing them and making the creature roar in pain. Leonardo. Cool, right. He said before throwing one of his swords behind him. Izuku, take it. Izuku ran to the sword that Leo threw, picked it up and stuck it in the ground. Nomu, who has regenerated eyes, tries to attack Leonardo with his arm, but he dodges it with a jump. But before the turtle teleported to the other sword Izuku picked up, Leo decided to show Nomu a little something. A finger in the middle. That's right. Leonardo showed the middle finger to Nomu before teleporting away from him, but when Leo disappeared, Raphael appears, who was behind Leonardo with his sei in his hands. Nomu punches Raphael, who has his body pierced by Nomu's fist. But this was not the real Raphael. Raphael. Ha. I'm here. He shouted while punching Nomu's left leg, who reacted to the attack and attacked that Raphael, but he wasn't the real one either. Raphael. No, I'm here. Another Raphael appeared who cut Nomu's arm, who also attacked that Raphael, but again, it wasn't the real one. Raphael. Behind you, asshole. Another Raphael appeared and pierced Nomu's neck with the Tusei. Raphael. Look at us here too. Two more Raphaels appeared, attacking the creature's torso. Resisting, Nomu attacked all the Raphaels around his body, but none of them were the real ones. Until a Raphael appeared in front of him and punched the creature hard in the face. Raphael. Wrong again. Before Nomu could look for his enemies, All Might appears out of nowhere behind the clone that disbanded and attacked Nomu with several punches. All Might. Surprise. Nomu and All Might were left exchanging punches, with the hero hitting several on the creature's body while dodging one attack or another. The hero would punch the creature hard in the face, but Nomu holds his fist and tries to hit the hero with his other fist, but All Might held him back. Nomu tries to bite the hero with his sharp teeth, but… Izuku? Don't even think about it. Izuku appeared below Nomu and punched the creature hard in the chin with one of his tonfas with one for all activated, causing Nomu to unleash All Might. But before Nomu went for the two of them. Michelangelo. Cowabunga. Michelangelo appeared and made the chains wrap around Nomu's body. How I miss saying that word. Michelangelo made the chains glow orange, causing the creature's weight to be removed, while Nomu tries to take these chains off, but he can't because thanks to the orange glow, these chains are resistant and don't break so easily. Michelangelo. Go on, I won't be able to hold him much longer. All Might made a big jump as he prepared a punch in the air. Soon, the hero goes to the ground and punches very hard, causing Nomu to fall to the ground. The punch was so strong that it created a large crater. All Might continued throwing several punches at Nomu who was lying on the ground until… Donatello. Leave it to me now, All Might. All Might gets off the creature as Michelangelo unleashes its chains. Nomu gets up slowly, but when he looks up he sees a huge sledgehammer with a purple coloring. That was Donnie's mystical power. Donatello. Donnie's mega sledgehammer. Strikes again. Donatello wasted no time and hit the sledgehammer's head with everything on top of Nomu's body, creating a huge cloud of dust with many cracks in the ground and with a big tremor in the place. Panting, Donatello returned his staff to normal as Izuku, All Might, and their brothers appeared beside him. The heroes watched the cloud dissipate until they saw Nomu stuck to the ground, but it didn't take long for him to get up, even if slowly. Donatello stared intently at Nomu and gathered all the information he had so far. Until he put the pieces together. Donatello. Guys, I think I already know how to defeat this thing. All Might. Say it, young turtle. Donatello. My name is Donatello, sir. But anyway, if this thing has shock absorption and it's made to face you at 100%, then we're going to hurt him so much that we're going to end up damaging his stamina. Michelangelo. Then we will have to. Raphael. Give him so much damage that he gets weak little by little. Leonardo. And All Might will deliver the final blow with everything. Izuku. Not just him. The turtles and All Might looked at Izuku, who was looking at the hero. Me and All Might will deliver the final blow. All Might. Young Midoriya. Izuku. All Might, I am your successor. If the two of us join our forces, even if I lend what little I have, it will be more stronger than just one blow with 100% power and strength. All Might looked at the boy a little before looking at the turtles, who nodded a little before focusing on Nomu. All Might. Right, young Midoriya. Young turtles. Leo. Mikey. Raph. Donnie. Right. Cowabunga. Turtles ran and attacked all over Nomu's body. As Nomu tried to attack one of the brothers, Leonardo cut off a part of his body with his swords. Donnie lashed out with his staff, while Raph stabbed his sei into Nomu's body. Mikey, on the other hand, was holding the creature with the chains of his weapon, while his brothers dealt damage to the monster. Shigaraki. But what are they doing? Shigaraki's eyes widened before dodging Kirishima's blow. Izuku. Guys, get away from him. Fearing Izuku, the turtles moved away from Nomu as the monster saw Izuku and All Might with their fists close to him. There was no way to dodge it. All Might put 100% of his strength into his left fist, while Izuku activated 25% of one for all with his right fist, but what the green man didn't know was that he also activated his mystical power that was wrapped around his fist. All Might. Hey villain. Have you heard those words before? Izuku. Go even more beyond. Izuku. All Might. Plus Ultra. Together, All Might and Izuku delivered a powerful blow to Nomu's belly, and it was so hard that the ground broke, the USJ shook, and Nomu flew so far that it destroyed the USJ's roof and kept flying until it entered orbit. Everyone who watched this was in shock and very, very surprised by All Might and Izuku's display of power. Zero. That. Wasn't that the same villain as before? Sato. Why yes. He flew far away. Mineta. Midoriya and All Might did it. They both got rid of that monster. Shota. Problem child. Aizawa was helping Sato carry 13, but he had a shocked expression when he saw what happened. Sai. Kiro. Sai was happy with the result of this battle. She was happy to see that Izuku and All Might managed to defeat the villain. Mina. They did it. Michako. That's the power of All Might and Takeru-kun. Take that, you villains. She screamed as she shed small tears. Meanwhile, back to the group that was at the scene. Kirishima. That was like a final blow from two comic book characters working together. But what a power. Bakugo. That was insane. Bakugo. Damn it. He's getting stronger. Shoto. The best of the class and the best of the pro heroes working together. So this is the result. Leonardo. That was amazing. Leonardo was impressed by that display of power. Raphael. That was so foo. Donatello. Fantastic. Raphael. I was going to say something else, but that works too. He said without taking his eyes off the huge hole in the ceiling that Izuku and All Might had caused. Michelangelo. I feel like I'm living in a comic book. That was awesome. All Might. Haha. That was amazing. Yeah, I even needed help dealing with that thing, but still. It was amazing. Young Midoriya, we did it great. All Might stopped talking when he looked at Izuku. Izuku was on his knees and in a lot of pain, as his right arm was in bad shape from having exceeded the limit of how much power he could handle with One for All, not to mention the mystical power that he still doesn't know how to control. All Might. Young Midoriya, are you? Izuku. It's okay, All Might. First we have to focus. With the villains. He said as he felt the pain in his arm and remained on his knees. All Might. You're right. The villains. When All Might turned around, he looked at the villains, Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and Baxter, as Shigaraki shook with rage. But All Might also noticed a detail. All Might. And now. My time is up. All Might. And now, villains. I'm sure we'd like to get this over with as soon as possible. Shigaraki. You cheated. Nomu was supposed to defeat All Might. He was created to kill All Might. But you defeated him easily because you cheated. You cheated by getting into this fight. All Might. What is it? Don't you want to come here anymore? Didn't you want to get this over with? Izuku looked at All Might and saw steam coming out of it, and the greenish one knows what that meant. Izuku. Oh no. Shigaraki. If I had Nomu. Damn. Shit. Desperate and frustrated at losing Nomu, Shigaraki starts scratching his neck in anger. Baxter. Gentlemen, I don't know about you, but I want to get out of here. Baxter was scared to see that they were at a disadvantage. Kurogiri. Stockman is right. Tamura Shigaraki, accept that we lost. We have to leave before. Shigaraki. Leave now no. I'll kill that brat and All Might with my bare hands. Before he could take a step, shurikens landed near Shigaraki's feet, who jumped and froze. He looked across the smoke and saw the turtles with annoyed expressions on their faces as they held their weapons. Leonardo. One more step and you regret it. They stared at each other until. Nezu. I'm sorry for the delay. Everyone turned and saw something that made the heroes happy. Nezu. I had to gather all the heroes that were available. At that moment, Iida along with the director and several professional heroes appeared. Tenya. Tenya Iida, from Class 1A, have returned with reinforcements. Nezu. Quick. Everyone spread out and protect the students. Heroes? Yes, sir. Shigaraki. Shit, they're here. Kurogiri, send us away. He said before taking 2 shots in the leg, which was caused by snipe. Kurogiri protected Shigaraki and Baxter while creating a portal. 13 uses his quirk to stop him, but it wouldn't do any good. But before they left, Shigaraki looked at All Might and Izuku. Shigaraki. I may have failed this time, but next time I'll kill you both, especially you brat. And you turtles, get ready for when the shredder is ready for you. After issuing that death threat, Shigaraki, Baxter and Kurogiri disappear without a trace. All Might. That was intense. Thank you so much for your help, young turtles. Leonardo. Don't worry. We just did the right thing. He said while he and his brothers put their weapons away. All Might. Haha. Young Midoriya, I also thank you for. When All Might turned around, he saw Izuku lying on the ground, unconscious. Young Midoriya. Leo. Mikey. Raph. Donnie. Izuku. Before they could go to Izuku, they heard footsteps running. It was Kirishima who saw Izuku lying on the ground. Kirishima. Midabro. Are you okay, man? All Might. Oh no. I can't move without it revealing my secret. All Might. Young turtles. Before he could finish speaking, the turtles came out of the smoke and appeared towards Kirishima, who stopped running at the sight of the four brothers. The turtles acted because they know All Might doesn't have much time to stay in that form and that his secret has to be kept. Leonardo. It's okay, we're friends. He said before looking at Izuku and then at Raph. Raph, carry Izuku. Let's take him to our master. Raphael. Sure. He said while carrying Izuku's body by his arms. While Donnie took his tonfas. Kirishima. But what about All Might? Doesn't he need help? Leave that to me. They turned and saw the hero Cementus as he erected a wall between the turtles and Kirishima with All Might. Cementus. I don't know who you are, but please take this young man to the front gate. As for you, join the others there as well. Kirishima. I see. I'm going to gather the gang to go to the gate with me. Said while running back to Bakugo and Todoroki. The turtles looked at each other and nodded their heads. They would show up to more people. Cementus met with All Might, who was already in his weak form. Toshinori, thank you Cementus. Cementus. You're welcome. I'm a big fan of yours too. Anyway, we'll keep you hidden here until we get you to the nurse. But man, you act reckless every time, huh? Toshinori. Yeah. I would have died if it weren't for young Midoriya and those turtles, who helped me a lot in the battle. Cementus. Now that you mention it, who are they? Toshinori. I don't know. But I feel like they're someone I can trust. I feel like I can trust them. He said while looking at turtles, which were almost at the top of the stairs. On the stairs, the heroes were helping 13 and taking some injured students and villains to the scene. Splinter, who has so far gone unnoticed by professionals, was watching everything until he saw his sons land in front of the heroes. The heroes and some students got scared and got into position thinking they were villains, but Aizawa, who was getting help from Present Mick, got in their midst. Shota. Calm down, it's okay. They're not our enemies. He said before looking at the turtles and seeing that Raphael was carrying Izuku by the arms. Leonardo. Master, Izuku needs help. Hearing his son, Splinter approached Izuku, who was placed on the ground by Raphael, and examined him. Some heroes were surprised to see a humanoid rat near them, while others including students like Achako, Sayu, Momo, Ida, Siro and among others who were at the gate, were worried to see Izuku's state. Splinter. He pushed himself too hard. But he's going to be fine. He said as he activated his mystical power and placed his hands on the boy's arm. Donatello. But that's not all, father. Izuku has awakened a mystical power. Splinter. What? Splinter was wide-eyed as he looked at Izuku's damaged arm. Splinter. So that means. Nezu. Excuse me. Splinter, the heroes and the turtles turned to see Nezu approaching them. That symbol on your kimono. You know the Hamato clan. The heroes and students were confused by this name, but the turtles and Splinter were surprised to see that anyone else knows the Hamato clan. Splinter. Yes. My sons and I are from the Hamato clan. Why? Nezu. Do you know Yashi Hamato? He was an old friend of mine and I lost my communication with him. Can you tell me what happened to him? He said in a worried tone. Splinter. May I know who you are first? Nezu. My name is Nezu and I'm the principal of UA. Splinter. Nezu. Is that you? Splinter was shocked to learn that the one in front of him was someone he knew a long time ago. Nezu. Yashi. Is that you? Nezu was also in shock. Nezu is someone smart and from seeing Splinter's reaction, he's already deduced who he might be. Splinter. Yes, my friend. It's me. Nezu. Splinter. Haha. Ha. That's right. The two were laughing, which made everyone strange that reaction. Soon, Splinter and Nezu shook hands before hugging each other. Splinter. It's good to see you doing well, Nezu. Nezu. I say the same, my old friend Yashi. Said before separating. I confess that I'm shocked to see that you're not like before. Clearly referring to Splinter's current state. Present Mick. Whoa. Wait a minute, what's going on? Michelangelo. Yeah, I don't understand anything. Raphael. But this is nothing new. Raphael's comment made Mikey glare at his brother. Nezu. Yashi, what's going on? Where have you been? What happened to you? And why did you come here? Splinter. I'll explain everything, my friend. It's a long story. But first, we have to help this boy. He said while turning to Izuku, who remained unconscious. Soon, Izuku was taken to one of the ambulances to have him examined and his injuries treated. Aizawa and 13 were also taken away, even though Aizawa only had that wound on his elbow, he still needed to be examined. The police showed up and arrested several villains and several Foot Clan ninjas, putting them on several buses. The students were also checked, but all the heroes saw that they were fine. Nezu asked the heroes to hide the turtles and Splinter, who didn't want to be seen by anyone other than the police, and so they did. Nezu apologized to the police about the turtles. Soon, Nezu and Splinter would have a long talk. Detective. 16, 17, 18, 19. Apart from the boy with the green hair, everyone seems fine. Shoji. So it was All Might who made that big hole in the ceiling. Zero. That's right. Him and Midoriya made this. Their power was incredible. Hiroshima. Let's not forget about those other guys who look like turtles. Sato. But I'm curious to know who they are. Where did they come from? Mina. Detective, what happened to 13 and teacher Aizawa? She asked worriedly. Detective. Aizawa had a nasty injury to his elbow, but he'll be fine. He just needs to be treated for that injury. As for 13, she had serious injuries, but she'll be fine. Ichako. But as for Takeru. Denya. Yes, as for Midoriya. Detective. Who? Ah, the green-haired boy. The recovery girl will tend to his wounds, so he'll stay. Thanks to the help All Might received, the hero just needs to rest and tend to his wounds. Ichako. Not so bad. Sayu. I'm glad to hear that. Momo. That made me feel more relieved. Hiroshima. That punch Midoriya threw with All Might was very manly. Okoyami. Midoriya acted like a warrior. A formidable warrior. Bakugo. Bakugo was annoyed to see that Izuku was being praised for what he did. Todoroki, on the other hand, listened in silence. Detective. Very well. It's time for you to go back to the classroom. Class 1A. Right. After that, all the students went back to the school to get their things and retire to their respective homes, except for 3 girls who decided to stay in the nurse's bout to a certain greenish one when he woke up. Unknown place. In a place that looks like a bar, Shigaraki, Baxter and Kurogiri appear. Well, Shigaraki is on the ground because of the shots he suffered. Shigaraki. Damn it. Damn it. Baxter, take it easy Shigaraki. I think next time you'll. What is the problem? The 3 turned and saw Orokusaki in front of them as he stood next to a television. We already have the full view of his face. Orokusaki has a part of his face burned while a part of him has scratches, which were caused by the splinter. Shigaraki. You want to know what the problem is? Those turtles showed up and ruined everything. Shredder. Are you trying to tell me that they had the guts to show up in front of everyone there? He asked coldly as he stared at Baxter. Baxter. Yes, Master. Because of them, All Might and that boy who was with them, all the ninjas were defeated. He said while cringing to see the Shigaraki. They cheated. Because of them, and that boy, Nomu was defeated. But what bothers me the most is the fact that the symbol of peace is totally healthy. Shit. Shredder. Who is this boy? Kurogiri. From what I could hear, his name is Midoriya or something like that. Orokusaki's eyes narrowed upon hearing the greenish man's name. Until the television next to Saki turned on, but he couldn't see anything on the screen, he could only hear the audio. What happened, Shigaraki? Shigaraki. You were wrong, Master. All Might is in perfect condition. No, I'm not wrong. The symbol of peace is really weakening. It's just you who didn't prepare properly for this task. By the way, how's my creation, Nomu? 2 voices of different people can be heard on this television. Kurogiri. He was defeated and flew away. What? Kurogiri. The punch Nomu received was so strong that it looks like he went into orbit. Now he must be drifting in space. And unfortunately, there's nothing I can do to recover. After all we've done to make him as powerful as All Might. It's a shame, so there's nothing we can do. Shigaraki. It wasn't just All Might who defeated Nomu. What do you mean, Shigaraki? Shredder. From what I've been told here, my mortal enemies appeared and together with All Might and a boy, they defeated this Nomu of yours. Shigaraki. Of all the brats that were there, I hated that boy. He was strong. I hate that boy. Interesting. Looks like we'll have to investigate this boy, Orokusaki. Since his enemies decided to show up. Tell me, you have other allies with you, right? Shredder. Yes. I can call them later. Great. For now, let's use this time to learn from our mistakes. Let's use this time to gather more allies, only more effective. Tomura Shigaraki, soon you'll show the world what you're made of. You, my friend Shredder, will soon help you kill those turtles and your old enemy. Shredder. I hope you keep your words, because otherwise, he said as he left, I will kill you myself. UA nurse. We're back at UA, the sun was setting, and our beloved protagonist has just opened his eyes. After that, Izuku sits down and looks at his bandaged arm. Izuku. What happened today? Was it true? Ichako. Takeru, are you okay? Izuku gets a little startled and looks to the side, so he sees Ichako, Sayu and Momo looking at him with worried expressions. Sayu. How are you, Midoriya? Momo. Is your arm still hurting? Izuku. I'm fine. But, wait, what are you doing here? Ichako. We were worried about you, so we stayed at the nurse's to see how you were doing. Izuku. Why you three? Izuku was blushing and surprised at the same time to know that 3 girls were waiting for him. The girls blushed a little as they looked around a bit. But Sayu had one thing to say. Sayu. Midoriya, first I want to thank you for protecting me at USJ. I was really worried about what happened to you. So, that's why I came. Thank you really for what do you do to me, Midoriya. Ichako. Yeah, you were great helping All Might. Momo. But at the same time it was very dangerous. What you did was very reckless and you shouldn't have done it. But, you were great. Thanks to you, we are all safe. Ichako. Just be careful next time, okay? She said as she approached the greenish a little. Izuku blushed a little, but he was also happy to see that more people care about him. Izuku. Thanks, girls. I'm sorry for worrying you. He said while smiling shyly while scratching his head with his left hand. Which in their eyes was pretty cute. Ichako. And no need to thank Takeru. Momo. Yeah, after all we're friends. She said while blushing a little. Sayu. Yes, it's true. Kiro. She said while smiling, but with a little blush on his cheeks. Izuku. So. I think we'd better go home, huh? Sayu. Yes, but first we have a question for you. Izuku. What question? The girls got a serious expression as they looked at the greenish one, who swallowed hard. Ichako. Takeru. Who were those turtles? Ichako's question made Izuku stiffen as his eyes widened. It was what he feared. That actually happened. It was from that day. That those 4 turtles. Those 4 brothers. They came out of the shadows. For Izuku. That's it guys. Thanks for watching and supporting us. See you in the next part.